talk, the game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
And welcome into the Friday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you. Hope everybody's doing well. Going to be a lovely day in the Middle Tennessee area today. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Good, and a long day. Be out at Hawkins Field tonight.
Yeah.
NCAA tournament gets going. Fun time of year.
It is a very fun time of year. Michelle Knezovic, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, and Vanderbilt is playing quarterback University.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Eastern Illinois.
Tony Romo.
Tim Kelly actually went there. Interesting fact.
There you go.
Good stuff.
And Ryan from Chicago went there. So, you know, the athletic ability, it's all around.
It's just an absolute factory of athleticism at Eastern Illinois.
Hey, man, Ryan.
Vandy better get ready.
Ryan's a finisher on the court, man. You know, I got to give him credit.
Joe, game one of the NBA Finals last night did not go my way. Miami Heat did not shoot very well. The Nuggets were running away with that one basically from the end of the first quarter on in that one last night. Not good.
No, but you know what? The whole thing with basketball is what kind of shots do you get, right?
Yep.
And that's really what it is. And I think at one point Strus and Martin were like a combined 0 for 13,
that is
I believe, from the floor. Robinson had a bad night. Look, the only reason they're here or came close here is because those guys have just been burying those open shots that they're going to keep getting. So I like how Bam played. I think he's got his little confidence in his short game back. And, look, it's tough to guard them. But it's tough for everybody to guard them. But I still feel like, they're going to need to outscore them. They're going to need to have great shooting nights. So I wouldn't freak out. Like, the shots they got last night were pretty darn good. And they just, it did look like this is a great example. We always talk about rust.
Yeah.
Here's a great example of rest actually can be very good for you. And a tired team, when you're rested, can also be very good.
That's the thing. Like, we discussed it a little bit yesterday, and I think some of the narrative was, and not just with what we were talking about, but I saw this a lot yesterday. Well, if the Heat are going to get one, it's going to have to be game one. I'm like, I don't know, man. They just played a 7-game emotional series and traveled straight to Denver. I don't know if they're going to have any legs. They did not have any legs last night. So, the good part about the finals is it's kind of spaced out. They don't play again until Sunday, and then they don't play again after that until Wednesday. So maybe some rest coming from the Heat here in the next couple of days, and maybe that helps their shooting on Sunday.
Yeah, actually, I don't feel worse about their chances because, Strus, Martin, those guys are going to hit. Certainly Martin. They're going to hit. Yeah. They're going to hit those shots. And that just changes things. They're going to have to just keep up because it is just when Jokic is playing like that, and again, it's just how he plays, but he's going to pick you apart. And look, the Nuggets took advantage of, that's how you're going to guard Aaron Gordon? Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just overpower you. They're going to have to adjust to that. But, yeah, I actually might feel a little bit better about their chances of making this a series after last night.
Now, you tell me, because you've been watching NBA basketball longer than I have. But you tell me.
Much longer than you've been alive.
Well, there's that too. Have you ever seen a big man pass like Jokic does?
No. No. There's some. There's plenty of big men who, because we're not counting. The best passers. The best big passers I think ever are Bird and Magic. I think they're the two best. They're both 6'9", and they were astounding passers. But
they're not
LeBron
big in there
men.
too, but yeah, right.
Yeah, no, LeBron's great too. But those guys, Magic was a point guard. Bird, was a 3 basically. So as far as a 5, a true 5 who passes like that, I'm trying to think of who would be close to that. Draymond's a great passer. He plays the 5 for the Warriors, but he's not. That's not what you're talking about.
Right.
No, I think he's the best, and he's just. And great point by Jeff Van Gundy last night. It's the thing about Jokic is he doesn't care if he doesn't even shoot.
Yeah.
If we're going to compare to Doncic for just because he dominates the ball and he just shoots so much, and he's a great passer and creator too. But Jokic is out there just hey, whatever you're going to give us, I'll take it. I'll hit that shooter in the corner, whatever it takes, and then if need be, start dominating, scoring.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what you do with him. And this is not just a Miami Heat problem. I don't know he's 7 foot tall. He passes like that. He can post you up. and he's shooting like 50% from three in the playoffs right now. Like, what do you do with that? I have no idea.
I think that you basically you have to hope that he has a bad shooting night, and you don't help too much off everybody because he'll kill you. Yeah, it is. It's really interesting, and I was a little surprised. I feel like because obviously Zeller was the choice last night, and he wasn't very good.
No,
but also Hollinger, who for the Athletics, said he made this point, and I totally agree. It's like this seems like Kevin Love maybe gets around like a guy who can actually hit some shots.
Yeah,
like said they're guarding Zeller like he's radioactive. It's like
just stay away from him.
Yeah, do not go anywhere near that guy. I feel like that might be worth a shot. Throw every big body you have at him, but. Again, I think the answer is like you need some nights where like Jamal Murray isn't hitting every single one of those like step backs and you need to score like crazy.
Well, they need that, and Strus is a good player when he can shoot. He's a horrible defender. They need Hero back, and they might get Hero back for game 2. Hero's a much better defender than Strus is. They need him back.
That's the thing. But if that's the reasoning, then you want to make sure. Because obviously if you're still like limited at some point, then how much better are you, right? But that could be a boost. That could be the X factor.
Could be. We'll see what happens on that front. I think there's a chance that he'll be back for game 2. I think a lot of people feeling really good about game 3 for Tyler Hero being back. So we'll see what happens on that front. Denver takes a 1-0 series lead in the NBA Finals. They look really good. And they are undefeated at home throughout the entire playoffs. So it's going to be a big challenge for the Heat coming up in Game 2. We'll get that in weekend winners a little bit later on the program. Joe, lots to get to on the SEC front and really in 3 of the big sports, football, basketball, and baseball. Lots going on right now. Let's start on the football front. We discussed this with Jeff Schultz yesterday from The Athletic about the conference scheduling part of it, and really the thought, not just from Jeff, but from a lot of people yesterday heading into all this was – that the decision was not going to be made and there was going to be basically tabled heading into yesterday, and that did not happen, at least for 2024. The SEC electing to go with an 8-game conference schedule as Texas and Oklahoma join the league. So the best I can tell, Joe, that doesn't seem to be the long-term solution, and I don't know that anybody wants that to be the long-term solution. Certainly Greg Sankey doesn't. And they're going to revisit that at some point, and hopefully, at least in my opinion, by 2025 they got this changed. But at least in 2024, we're going with an 8-game conference schedule in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma joining the fold.
Yeah, and it's a 1-year thing. So if they go to 9 from here, it's not a huge deal. And without saying it out loud, Sankey basically confirmed like Bama, Tennessee is going to be retained.
Yeah.
I think
the phrase he uses, we will honor traditional rivalries.
Yeah, we're going to honor our traditional rivalries, traditional games. We understand priorities there. Okay. If that's the case for 1 weird year, okay. But, again, how could you be a 16-team league when the other power conferences play 9 and you play 8? It's so weak. Like, the more I think about it, it's just so weak and ridiculous. You can't do it. And, again, if you do that, the divisions are toast. This is going to be fascinating, by the way, in 24 with the just top 2 teams and the tiebreakers and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be, but if you stay with 8 again, 1 game gets protected. A bunch of really important traditional games get flushed. You have to go to 9. So you can tell Sankey in his comments is let's say, here's a quote from him. Quote, this is from our guy Seth Emerson at The Athletic. Quote, we're going to begin our new relationship with an 8-game schedule, and if the level of impatience is simply intolerable from those who want to criticize me, then okay, end quote. I know he probably didn't say it like that, but I had to say it in that voice.
Yes.
Nanny, nanny, boo-boo.
Friend of the program.
Yes. He's obviously, and the thing is, he's probably, Sankey's, I'm sure, completely flustered with this because this isn't him. He doesn't want this to, to linger like this. But look, some of these guys have made it clear, and I don't begrudge this. Like, why would ESPN not pay more? That's the Georgia president is out here saying, I mean, this is his quote. Quote, obviously, if you go to a 9-game schedule, you got to be compensated for going to a 9-game schedule. And ESPN right now does not appear to be – by the way, ESPN's laying off people.
Right.
I mean, this is, Disney, ESPN, so – but you know what? Even if you don't – I mean, I think you hold out for it. That's fine. Now you have some extra time. You have to go to 9.
I think they will. I mean, the 8-game schedule, we talked about this yesterday. I have no interest in the one permanent opponent and then just rotating around throughout that. I think there are too many rivalries in the SEC that you lose on a yearly basis if you do that. And I think they recognize that to some degree. Now, again, I realize, and I'm not naive enough to think that all of this isn't about money at the end of the day. That's what it's always about. So you have to figure out the financial part of it. I get all that. I guess I was at least encouraged yesterday that it was, all right, we're doing this for 1 year. We're going to try to maintain as many rivalries as we can for the 1 year, and hopefully by 2025 you get it figured out. Now, having said that, if we get around like past the SEC media days and we start getting into next season and they still don't have this figured out, that's going to be very disappointing to me. They need to get this figured out in a hurry. So 2025, you're at a 9-game schedule.
Yes. They absolutely do, and it's just weak. I mean, it's weak, and it's diminishing your product, and you are the best conference, so act like it. But they are acting like the NFL in one way.
They are.
We got a nice TV schedule to release the 2024 schedule, baby.
Get fired up.
So excited. June 14th. Everybody tune in.
It even said that you'll have to tune in June 14th.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Three hours. It'll be a 3-hour special. We'll get like one game every
September the 15th. Let's break down this matchup between Ole Miss and Arkansas. Okay, thank you.
And now we'll go to the penultimate week of the season. Let's go through some of those awesome matchups.
Yes. It'd be great.
Auburn against the Citadel.
Yes. By the way, I got all over Eli Drinkwitz yesterday. I do want to point out this quote he had a couple of days ago that came to my attention yesterday, and it's very funny. It's a quote, "I'm a history teacher by trade, and every time I come to these meetings, I'm blown away that the 13 colonies actually formed a union. If we can't agree on an 8 or 9 game schedule, how do we come together to defeat the British?" This was the quote from Eli Drinkwitz. So, way to go, Eli.
That's deep by Eli.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. We rip Eli, but people who are good quotes, we need to preserve them.
Yeah.
We need to protect them.
We're pro Eli here on the show.
Yeah, we're pro Eli.
615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction to that. The SEC holding on to an 8-game conference schedule, at least in 2024. That's on the table. We'll get a little bit more into the SEC football discussion coming up next. We got a lot to talk about, especially with these coaches as well. All that coming up. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The NBA's best battle for the ultimate prize.
NBA champions.
Every big bucket.
Three-pointers right side is good.
Every big stop.
The steal rejected.
We are your home for the NBA Finals. Presented by Superbook Sports. Hear every game on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
Interest rates may be high everywhere else, but now at Genesis Diamonds, you can get 0 interest on any purchase. 5 years, 0 interest financing with nothing down. Beautiful eternity bands, 1-carat diamond stud earrings, and more. Starting at only $50 a month. At Genesis, we are always looking for ways to do more for our amazing customers. So don't miss this. 5 years, 0 interest financing. Imagine that $6,000 designer ring is just $100 a month. We'll even finance the sales tax. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Does this sound familiar? Did your agent provide excellent entertainment with their TikTok videos and constant social media posts about themselves while completely ignoring that you hired them to sell your home? Did they tell you how wonderful they were? how many followers they had? They probably never sold your home, but hey, they did get 15 likes on their selfies. Hashtag my clients love me. Don't let that happen to you. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why the only likes we care about are our clients loving our service. Ask us about our prepay with TJ option and how it can save you thousands. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Call TJ's team today to see why they're referred to so often. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook, live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Lots to get into with the SEC. And Joe, I have to say, every time I look at our little show grid and we go over it in our pre-show meeting that lasts a couple hours, anytime that you've got something that's worth ranting about on the grid, it fires me up. I mean, every time you want to rant, it fires me up. It's like a bonus Rex rant almost. Yeah. It's great.
Should probably, for the days that my Rex rant is basically like, combing my hair in front of the microphone, I should save some of those.
Or touching your face.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll get into that at 7 o'clock.
What does that mean?
Little Jared Stillman coming on the program at 7 o'clock.
Jared didn't answer my question the other day about how many times who did I just ask him? Every single, like that, he will never live down the touching the face thing. I just want to promise this right now to all who are listening. He will never live it down.
No, it's going to be something that we're going to bring up multiple times. I'm looking forward to it. But the SEC coaches have gotten your attention this week, Joe Rexrode.
Well, yeah, so obviously the scheduling thing is the dominant topic because it's something that they could have – it was actionable.
Yeah.
Nothing else is actionable. But Ubben, our friend David Ubben, wrote about the tampering discussion, which was very prominent this week, and a lot of different comments. And I got to say, man, I mean, this is one of those things. Again, I get it if you've had someone tampered with and you don't like it. I get that you would be upset. So, I mean, let's go back to forever and ever. It's all these coaches know about, oh, this guy's cheating, that guy's cheating. They did this, did that, whatever. Okay. Well, say something about it then.
Yeah.
If that's true, but again, it's that code of silence. So it's no different. It's like, and like Shane Beamer's talking about, well, you may know, but do you have the proof? So I get that. But I have to give props to our co-producer, Pat Narduzzi. Because, seriously, Narduzzi, like when Jordan Addison all of a sudden was like, hey, I'm going to get in the portal. And everybody's like, oh, USC's offered him a ton of money. Hey, a few weeks later, I guess I'll pick USC. He had all these different schools. It was like, well, maybe Texas and maybe this or that. First of all, again, let me make it clear. I don't begrudge Jordan Addison at all, okay? But Narduzzi's like, yeah, Lincoln Riley was tampering. Called him out. Good for you. So earlier this month, Narduzzi is asked if he regretted, if he regretted saying that. This is a Bruce Feldman, Max Olson piece about tampering, but they asked him on the record, do you regret? This is Narduzzi's quote. Hell no. End quote. Good for you. Let's see more of this. I mean, if this is. There's no policing that's going to realistically happen. No. There's no outside policing. There's no legislation. There's certainly no NCAA power anymore. So if this is a problem, then what you have to do is police each other. I mean, and the thing is, if we're being real, a whole bunch of people this week who were complaining about this. Get some pretty good players in the portal one way or the other.
Are also doing it.
I mean, like Josh Heupel, his quote is this, quote, at the end of the day, the integrity of the staff is how you solve that problem. Okay. Well, first of all, I could take that as an indirect shot at Lincoln Riley too, right? I mean, a lot of people are down on Lincoln Riley, but, man, that's you're telling me that in this business, if people are out there doing this stuff, and if you are out there looking for players, that's an integrity test. Boy, that's a high bar. I mean, it's a mess. But you know what? The only solution I see is call it out. And if you want to, I mean, you should do it the right way, which to me is like. Not on the front end, interfere, tamper, and try to say, we'll give you this if you'll come out here and wait for people to get in there. But is that going to happen? I really don't think so. I mean, Jimbo's out here. I don't know anybody that's really been caught, but if they get caught, there's going to be severe penalties. Okay.
Thanks, Jimbo.
As Jimbo's on the other line, like, hey, okay, I'll give you this, this, and this.
Right. And again, so if we had the portal, but we didn't have NIL.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't be any different.
No.
It's just that the money wouldn't be like we wouldn't find, it'd just be bags of cash like it used to be. It'd be Jeremy Pruitt's comfort zone. So it's all very funny to me.
It's funny to me, too, and again, this is a different discussion than just like recruiting straight out of high school. Like there's that part of it, too. But it's the transfer portal and things happening that way. Now, it's funny to me to watch like this conversation take place because, again, we all know that this has been happening for a long time. But that's why I think the game is so volatile right now, I guess is the right word, just from the standpoint of coaching is so much different now than it was this time 4 or 5 years ago. Just from the standpoint of, yes, it's still about recruiting and it's about bringing in the right players and all that stuff, but now you have to re-recruit over and over and over again. I had a buddy yesterday that's a big Tennessee fan text me, and he's like, I was just thinking about all this going on because he pays attention to college football stuff all the time, and he was like, what do you think the odds are that Nico actually finishes at Tennessee? And I was like, well, I think they're good, just based on the way the quarterback room looks like right now, but. I mean, the more you think about it, that's always going to be a question. Like when some of these 5-star recruits come in, you're going to have to re-recruit them over and over and over again with NIL and with playing time. And if they don't play right away, are they going to get mad? It's such a different part of it that way for coaches than I think it used to be. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. One of the things about college football that made me so mad for a long time was, well, the coaches can up and leave at any second. And the players that they've recruited are basically tied to the university unless they want to sit out for a year. So I don't want to go back to that.
No.
But it is interesting how much different that dynamic is now.
Yes, exactly. And that's where it's like for the top, like the Nikos, you know, I mean, these NIL contracts can be, you know, you can do different things with them. Can it be like retention related? You know, it's this much money if you stay, you know. But then again, if another school comes together with a huge number, then
right.
Okay, so you forfeit this money and go get it over there. I mean, it's look, I will also say this. You know, we're kind of ripping on these coaches a little bit, but like you said, I mean, it's rough. It's rough for them. This is going to. I mean, I think this is why. I think we've seen some people get out, and I think you're going to see shorter careers. You know, I think it's going to be tougher to have these long-term careers. So here's the thing that Peter Burns tweeted. You know, Saban told him on Sirius. They tracked how many weeks of the year that his staff worked 7 days a week.
Yeah. Of
the 52 weeks, it was 44.
That's a lot.
Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl said, you know, he quote tweeted that, said, you know, the dangers of the portal and NIL isn't just about the players. The current landscape of college football is killing college coaches, not to mention recruiting support staff. You're already seeing the burnout factor setting in. It's only been a couple years.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Vanderbilt over here, I mean, they've been able to so far do pretty well at keeping people away from their players. They're all about retention. And, you know, we'll see if that can continue. But, I mean, Vanderbilt gets good players. People are going to try to poach them.
Well, and Vanderbilt's a good part of that discussion too. And we're talking a lot about like the SEC part of this. But I still think for the most part, like if you're a Tennessee, if you're an LSU, an Alabama, Georgia, you're going to be able to keep your players most of the time. The teams that I feel bad for, and we talked about this when the NIL stuff started, the teams that I feel bad for like are your group of 5 teams where like if players are really good and other teams like Alabama wants them or Tennessee wants them, it's like, yeah, just come on over here and we'll give you some NIL and it's over. Like the job that's in front of group of 5 coaches right now to keep their good players is really difficult.
Right, and like in hoops, I mean, within the SEC, you know, Calipari just go grab a guard from Georgia who's smoking him, or Tennessee just grabbed Destiny Wells from Belmont.
Yep.
You know,
it's a wild situation right now. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get into regional play for both Vanderbilt and Tennessee. That begins this weekend. We'll also get into some big hoops news for Vanderbilt and Tennessee as well. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale.
That's right. Family Leisure is inviting you to come out and play with a new swimming pool, spa, or patio furniture set.
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
Installation in less than 10 days on average.
More than 100 spas in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Artesian, Strong, and LBI spas starting at only $29.99.
What about the patio furniture?
Family Leisure has hundreds of sets in stock and on sale. Hanneman, Woodard, Trabatone, and Loft, all ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure also has the Sabre infrared grill in stock and on sale at only $14.99, and the Bull Grill Islands at only $39.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $24.99 installed and ready for immediate delivery.
Pool tables, massage chairs, and theater seating all on sale and ready for immediate delivery.
Come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facility safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321. The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura, benefiting Souls for Souls, coming up on Wednesday, June the 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together, come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs to support a great cause and have loads of fun. If you want to support Souls for Souls, but you can't play golf with us, just check out our silent auction items. All you have to do, go to thegamenashville.com/golf for more information. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Benjamin in Nashville. Benjamin, good morning. Thanks for calling in. Hello, Benjamin.
Benjamin Button?
I think we've lost
Time
Benjamin.
going backwards on him?
All righty. We've lost Benjamin. Benjamin, call back if you want to weigh in. Joe, regional play gets underway today between for both Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Tennessee will be taking on Charlotte tonight at 5 o'clock in the Clemson Regional. And then here in Nashville, Vanderbilt hosting Eastern Illinois tonight at 7 o'clock. As you pointed out earlier, you will be in attendance for the Vanderbilt Regional tonight, taking on Eastern Illinois. Let's start on the Tennessee front. Obviously, taking on Charlotte. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched a ton of Charlotte baseball this year, but what do you make of their regional as a whole and going on the road to Clemson, with Clemson being the #1 seed? What has to go right for Tennessee to come out of this regional, advance to the Supers?
Well, look, they've got – I mean, you with Andrew Lindsay's emergence and the way Chase Dolander is pitching lately, Drew Beam has been – he had a little bit of a rough start, but he's been rock solid. You got 3 starters that you feel really good about. So I think and then Chase Burns is. I mean, there's a lot of arms in the bullpen. There's a lot of guys in this bullpen who can in situationally can help you. So I mean, they've got great pitching depth and talent. Burns is he's going to have to be key too. At some point for them. And his last outing was very rough at South Carolina, but for the most part, he's been pitching well since Tony Vitello took him out of the rotation. That pitching gives them a chance, absolutely. Will they hit well enough on the road against a team that's won? I think Clemson's. Again, when they'll get to Clemson, Clemson's won 16 straight games, I want to say.
Yep.
So they're on a tear. They're at home and all that. But if you get decent at-bats and production there, I think your pitching is going to keep the other scores down. It'll be a big disappointment if not. And this is where their strength as a team should really come to the forefront.
Oh, and it's also where, you can't find yourself looking ahead. And, it's postseason baseball, so it shouldn't happen. But, you can't go out there tonight and lose to Charlotte and then have to take the harder road to get through the rest of the regional there. It'd be nice to just take care of business tonight, and eventually, if it goes the way everybody thinks it's going to go, you're going to have to take down Clemson at that point.
Yeah, win tonight, and then you probably get Clemson tomorrow, and then one of the two will have to go back through the losers bracket. But yeah, and look, I don't know anything about Charlotte, but I do know that all of these teams, for the most part, have a pretty good ace. That's usually what you see. Is like most of these teams at least have one really good. Like for example, Auburn taking on Princeton, right? I think it's Princeton. Yeah. I know that their pitcher is like lights out, like dominant, and then then they have some other good play. But they have one dominant pitcher.
Right.
That's what you see a lot with these teams. And so, in that first game, your starter is going to have to be really good.
And then on the Vanderbilt side of things, taking on Eastern Illinois in the first game tonight. And we've talked about Vanderbilt. They rally and win the SEC tournament last week. And, health has been one of their main issues all year long. But now they're sitting here hosting the regional. If they get through this, they're going to be hosting the Super as well. So the path to Omaha is at least laid out for Vanderbilt at this point. But it starts tonight against Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, still don't know. Like Carter Holton, the entire postseason, is he done? No one has ruled him out yet. Definitely not happening this weekend. So Hunter Owen, Devin Fattrell, those guys, and then you've got a lot of different options for your next starter. Sam Hleboki, I think, as a senior, is a real. Patrick Riley is an interesting guy. He really was good in Hoover. He had a rough start against Arkansas. In the last time that they lost in the regular season, he's a guy who gives you. It's kind of like Chase Burns, great stuff, and like sometimes when he doesn't start, he doesn't have that pressure. It's like it's better for him. So I think he could be a key name. But the big thing for Vanderbilt is if they're going to carry over the hitting from Hoover, when you've got guys like Austin as the MVP and Leneve all of a sudden is mashing. Bradfield is Bradfield. He's going to be a problem for people. But that up and down that lineup, Espinal, some of those guys, if they're going to hit like that, then I really like Vanderbilt's chances to be playing next weekend.
And, Joe, then on the basketball side of things, you alluded to this yesterday, but it was announced that Tyron Lawrence is returning to Vanderbilt after entering the transfer portal. So that's obviously big news for Jerry Stackhouse and the Vanderbilt basketball program with Tyron Lawrence coming back. And Josiah Jordan-James has announced that he is returning to the Vols for his 5th year. It feels like he's been there since Chris Lofton was on the team back in the day, but Josiah Jordan-James returning to Tennessee once again. So what do you make of those two moves specifically, both for Vanderbilt and for Tennessee?
That's what's so interesting as we talk about all this stuff. And by the way, I'm very excited you just brought up college basketball.
Thank you.
We should have like some kind of like thing, Michelle, like where we hit like a bell or something of excitement when Robby.
I saw the grid yesterday.
Yay.
And Joe had this in there. I was like, oh, college basketball on June 2nd.
Yeah.
He's got a sickness.
News.
Yes.
It is very important
Now,
news.
there is news. You just mentioned the news. And look,
Tennessee fans can be happy that Kentucky's roster looks very bad right now.
That's true. Kentucky is straight up. Better hope that number 1 recruiting class is really good because they had lost their veterans.
Josiah Jordan-James is 22. If you'd have told me he was 29, I'd be like, yep, sure.
He's only 22. He's
Sounds
kind of
good.
young then.
Yeah.
I guess.
Every once in a while, I just go back and read my 2019 profile on him, debating whether he'll be a one and done or not.
Yeah. The answer is no.
Maybe.
It's like, remember Lee Tiffin from Alabama? It felt like Lee Tiffin kicked at Alabama for about 25 straight years.
That's the interesting thing about all this stuff. This is the cool side is, well, like again, I mentioned yesterday, like Zach Edey coming back to Purdue. Like in the past, there's zero chance. I mean, he's going to be an NBA player. I don't know, but he's like, yeah, okay, Purdue, the collective got some money for me.
Yeah,
sure. So, like, I'm actually really interested to know the Tennessee fan excitement level over Vescovy and James being back. because they've been really solid players for them. Good leaders, great guys. I mean, they've done a lot of good things. But also, I think you look at them and it's like in some of these bigger games, some of these most devastating losses, they've had really rough shooting nights, and it's like they just kind of, like the team as a whole kind of resorts to just casting up shots and hoping they fall. So I thought they would both be gone that night when they lost in New York. And they're both back. So is that exciting or not? I mean, it's a loaded, experienced team for Tennessee, but they have new guys coming in that may take some of their minutes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I could sit here today and safely predict that Tennessee's probably going to be pretty good next year. I mean, they'll be a factor in the SEC. They'll make the tournament. They'll probably be a relatively high seed in the tournament, and then we'll see after that. But
which, by the way, I mean, you say all that, and it's just a given.
I know.
Now. I mean,
I know.
It's just a given.
It is though.
It used to, I know.
I
It used to be rare, few and far between. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, it's been a long time since they've been in the NCAA tournament. I think they got the team now. Tyron Lawrence coming back. And first of all, if you're a Vanderbilt fan and you've wondered, is Vanderbilt going to, be serious with the collective? Like, can we compete when things like this happen and someone tries to poach one of our players? And I think this is your answer here in the affirmative. The fact that Tyron Lawrence is coming back, because he was absolutely a guy who was pursued, and he's back. And I think with Magnon and Lawrence, and then, some of the ads that Jerry Stackhouse made too, I think they're going to be pretty good, and they should be an NCAA tournament team.
I mean, I'm excited. Josiah Jordan-James has been playing since, Ernie and Bernie were there at Tennessee. That legacy is going to be cemented now with him coming back for his 25th year.
Yeah, he could never quite get past Ernie Grunfeld, off the bench. Like, dang, that Ernie Grunfeld. He's too freaking good.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it is time for Call Your Shot Friday. We need your bold predictions on our text line. The Stanley Cup Final getting underway on Saturday. Obviously, Game 2 of the NBA Finals coming up on Sunday as well. Those are on the table. You can go Titans. You can go Preds with the draft taking place later this month. Everything on the table for Call Your Shot Friday, 615-737-1025. We will do that coming up next. Make sure you tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:04 on 94.9 The Fan. Sounds taking on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Last year, Jerry was all like, hey, I'm going to go to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix this year. Then he didn't. Instead, he decided to weed his garden. And he missed an August weekend of IndyCar racing, super truck racing, even night racing, all through downtown Nashville. Sure, old Jer had a lot of weeds to pull, but Jerry also totally sucks. Hey, don't suck like Jerry. Get your tickets at MusicCityGP.com for August 4th through 6th. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Get amped.
Hey, it's Withrow. Regal Realty Group and Monarch Title have made it even easier for you to buy or sell your house. Their updated website is very helpful for buyers and sellers with a list of communities and featured listings and answers to questions you may have when selling. Take a look around at regalrg.com. You'll find your new home with their super easy search bar. Regal Realty helps from contract to closing and everything in between, like inspections, appraisals, and paperwork. Let them do the heavy lifting and make it easy for you. Everything you need is at regalrg.com.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, traffic, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's almost time to crown an NBA champion, and FanDuel wants you to be part of the excitement because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. FanDuel's got great promotions every day, a safe and secure app, and you can get paid instantly. And there is no better place to bet the finals than on America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, I'm telling you, I think the Nuggets are going to crush Miami. And I think that Miami's victory said more about the Celtics than it did about Miami. And I think Joker is real, and I think the Nuggets are going to crush them. Visit FanDuel.com/JGM and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
This weekend on our sports stations, Saturday night, Game 5 between the Admirals and Coachella Valley at 6 on 102.5 The Game, and Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final after Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan. Sunday on 102.5 The Game, it's the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway in the NASCAR Cup Series at 1:30. Game 2 of the NBA Finals between Miami and Denver. Don't miss Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan at 11:50 against Charlotte.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The sports weekend has arrived. You know what that means.
Shoot your shot.
It's time for Call Your Shot Friday with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time for Call Your Shot Friday here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your bold predictions, your called shots on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, our phone number. Now, Joe Rexrode, I was not here last week for Call Your Shot Friday, but I trust that we had some spicy ones. How did we do last week on Call Your Shot Friday?
Well, let's see. Let's go right to Adam, first of all. He says the Stars will extend the series, and which they did.
They did.
And Jason Robinson, Hintz, and Pavelski combined for at least 6 points. I don't think that happened. But you got half of it right. Good job, Binkin. Said the Panthers will win the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Final on the road, so we will see if he has that right. And he said the Miami Heat will nip it in the bud by beating the Celtics in Game 6. Jimmy Butler with at least 30, and, of course, that turned out to be wrong.
That did not happen.
Yeah. Michelle, you had Bam and Butler combining for more than double of what Brown and Tatum combined for in Game 6. That did not happen.
No.
That definitely did not happen. Vegas will shut out Dallas 6-0. Man.
That did happen
They shut him out.
That happened in Game 6.
That's right.
Wait,
that's
I got
wild.
it.
Well,
Now you're one game off.
A game off, but still, that's pretty amazing.
I really wish I put some money on that.
That's wild that you had the right score. Wow, that's freaky. Miami will beat Denver in 5 games. So,
still alive.
It's still alive.
Technically, yes.
4 straight. Here we go. And then you said Tyler Herro first game. So basically, in his first game back, he'll have more than 25. So you have that one up in the air too. I said Miami will beat Boston in Game 6 by double digits. Didn't happen. Bam will have 25 plus. Sure didn't happen. I said the Stars will win Game 5 at Vegas. So half
That did
right.
happen.
But I had with of course Ben not playing. I said Luke Glendening with the big double overtime goal. And then I also said that this week Kevin Byard will be at OTAs. He's not. So wrong.
Wrong on that one.
There
Michelle
you go.
Knezovic, kick us off with today's edition of Call Your Shot Friday.
Okay, sticking in the NBA, Jokic will have a 40-point triple-double in Game 2. Is that a called shot? Yeah.
40-point triple-double? Yes, I would say that qualifies.
Well, he is averaging about 35, 12, and 13 or whatever, but okay. 45.
I think that's a shot, though. Yeah, 40-point triple-double. Yeah.
I'm going to
against Eric Spoelstra. Yeah, that's a called shot.
Let's keep and it wasn't on there, but I have both Miami and the Panthers winning the title in both. So let's put that there. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo will both combine for more than 60 points in Game 2.
Okay.
And then finally, the first game between Vegas and the Panthers, I'm going to do another score prediction. 4-0 Panthers win Game 1.
Shutout on the road. I like it. Very nicely done. Joe Rexrode, your called shots for this week.
Well, let me just flip that around. I say Golden Knights win Game 1 and Jack Eichel gets a hat trick. So how about that?
Ooh.
An Eichel hattie. Miami will win Game 2. And Duncan Robinson will have 20-plus in Game 2. I think that's a shot.
Have to get hot. Yep.
Yes. And then I got 2 beyond this weekend. 1, Vanderbilt and Tennessee both make it to Omaha.
Wow. That'd be something.
And Barry Trotz does trade up, going off his comments this week, trades up to number 5 with the Canadians, and he takes Swiss defenseman David Reinbacher, the top defenseman in the draft. There you go. And everybody, all this talk about centerman and forwards and everything, like, let's just get back to what we're good at, drafting defensemen. But they actually need to draft defensemen.
There will be outrage, though.
They do. Like, they absolutely need to draft a defenseman. But people will freak out if that happens. It's going to be awesome. All right, my called shots for the week. Let's just start where Joe Rexrode cares the most. The Milwaukee Admirals will win the Calder Cup. They evened up their series last night, 2-2 with Coachella Valley, which I know Rexrode was all over last night. And the Admirals,
I listened to some of the call.
The Admirals will win the Calder Cup. Calder Cup champion.
Boom!
Milwaukee Admirals. So take some of that. DeAndre Hopkins.
When is the parade?
Well, maybe does that parade route stretch from Milwaukee to here?
I think
all the way down?
It should.
I think it should.
Just get on the Mississippi and then come over and cut over.
And then cut over significantly. DeAndre Hopkins will sign with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills will be the landing spot for DeAndre Hopkins, not the Kansas City Chiefs. It will be in Buffalo. Matthew Tkachuk will score the overtime game winner in Game 7 on the road in the Stanley Cup Final. And the Florida Panthers will win the Cup on the road in Game 7 against the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm calling it now.
All-time legend if he does that.
He will be an all-time legend for an all-time playoff run for Matthew Tkachuk. And my final called shot, John Morant will be suspended for 25-plus games by the NBA. John Morant will be suspended for 25-plus games. If you missed it last night, Adam Silver did somewhat address the John Morant situation. And basically, Joe, from his comments, I kind of read it as they figured out exactly what they're going to do, and they are waiting to announce it to when the NBA Finals are over. So, didn't sound great for John Morant last night. I say 25-plus games.
Yeah, I don't know if 25 – I guess that's a shot. I think it's a shot.
I think it's a shot.
Somehow I feel like it's going to be 20.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, I could see it. I think it should be half the year.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on that front. Uncle Fingus on the text line says, calling my shot, Lipscomb will beat Clemson today and will also advance to the Super Regional.
Ooh,
best baseball team in Nashville right now. This from Uncle Fingus on the text line. Lipscomb.
Dig in. So that's the thing. That's, obviously, at least they have Tennessee, so they have a team. But it would have been. That's why it would have been fun to have Lipscomb here,
play
the two Nashville teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle
I like that one, Fingus.
Saying that they get out of there and get to the Super Regional. I like that.
Can I call one more shot?
Sure.
And just pull a Ryan Porth. John Hines will be the next head coach of the New York Rangers.
Okay. That is a shot.
That is a shot. Look at Joe's face.
That is a shot. My Rangers friends will absolutely melt down.
Oh, believe me, I have a lot of hardcore Rangers fans in the family.
Yeah.
And are they like excited? Are they excited about the possibility?
I think they're still just trying to recover from the playoff loss, to be honest, right now.
It's very disappointing.
I think it's still gonna be Peter Laviolette, but we'll see. Ron on the text line says Jimmy Butler will have 43 points in Game 2, and the Miami Heat will still lose. 43 points from Jimmy Butler in Game 2, and the Miami Heat will still lose. This is from Ron.
That's a pretty good shot, actually.
That actually is a good shot. Craig on the text line says Matthew Tkachuk will score the first and the last goal of the Stanley Cup Final. I like that.
Yeah.
Going to lead things off and close things off.
That's a great shot.
Nate also has Lipscomb as his shot, by the way, beating Clemson today. So
okay, a lot of Lipscomb love on the text line. That's what we're here for on Call Your Shot Friday. Hey, I'm pulling for him today.
Real quick, just I'll tell you because we won't get back to it, but Ethan, as he said, rumor is that Josiah James is a walk-on. So and that may be the case. Now, if that's the case, then this is where the collective comes in and pays the tuition.
Yeah, exactly.
But they are won over.
They are. Walk-on. Josiah Jordan James.
37-year-old walk-on Josiah James.
That would be a turn of events.
DeAndre Williams at Memphis, playing for Memphis next year, 27 years old. That's my kind of college career.
That is older than me.
Michael Jordan walking on to North Carolina next year. Yeah. MJ, welcome back. We don't have a scholarship for you.
Year of eligibility left.
He does. This has been Call Your Shot Friday. You can check it out every Friday morning at 6:45. Coming up next, we will be joined by our good friend Jared Stellman. We'll get into the Predators' hiring of Andrew Brunette, his thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins, and much more with our friend Jared coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Tannehill, entering right up the middle, touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
The Titans' window to contend is however long Derrick Henry stays Derrick Henry.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Gets it back and scores.
Our execution was good.
They have not found their groove.
It's always great to win in this league. It's tough to win.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
High interest rates may be the norm everywhere else. But right now at Genesis Diamonds, we're always thinking about our customers, and we've decided to slash interest rates down to 0% for 5 years. That means you can get those diamond earrings, that designer engagement ring, or that luxury pre-owned Rolex and spread your payments over 5 whole years without paying a dime in interest. Birthdays, anniversaries, just because gifts starting as low as $35 a month. And that's with 0 down. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Approved credit. See store for details.
Join 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan on June 6th for a night of music benefiting Souls for Souls at the Night Before Charities Writers Round featuring Saving Abel. General admission is $20 with every ticket going to purchase a new pair of shoes for a child experiencing homelessness. It's happening at the all-new Ballad East next to the Gallatin Hotel in East Nashville. Lineup also includes Louis Bryce, Brian Davis, Austin Ellis, as well as Lee and Tiffany Turner. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Get your tickets now at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Time to save cash fast with the 102.5 The Game Deal of the Week. Get a $30 gift card to Central Barbecue for half off at thegamenashville.com/deals. A $30 gift card for just $15 at thegamenashville.com/deals. Smoke is our sauce at Central Barbecue. Visit their newest location in Hillsboro Village. Get them while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezovic. The SEC will stay with the 8-game conference slate in 2024. Greg Sankey announced yesterday The Denver Nuggets defeated the Miami Heat in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, 104-93. Nikola Jokic leading the pack with 27 points. Commissioner Adam Silver had some comments on the NBA Finals broadcast regarding Ja Morant and his situation in Memphis.
We've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. I think since I was still asked about the situation, I would say we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us, that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of this series to announce the results of that investigation. And given that we're, of course, in the off season, he has now been suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies.
It'll be a busy day at Hawkins Field for the first round of the regional matchups. First up, Oregon versus Xavier at noon, followed by Vanderbilt versus Eastern Illinois at 7 p.m. tonight. This report is presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you. And as we do every Friday morning at 7 o'clock, we welcome in our friend Jared Stillman to the program, fresh off a defeat at the hands of Joe Rexrode. A very triumphant Joe Rexrode this morning on the program with another win in the competition in Jared versus Joe. Jared, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be with you guys.
Glad to have you with us. Joe's a little happy this morning about his win. I got to say, Jared. Very happy.
That's all I've been talking about, man.
Yeah.
Like during the breaks. That's all I've been.
I don't even
like at
remember.
Home. It's home. At home.
I don't even remember exactly what the reason Caroline gave for Joe winning, but it seemed like it was very much like splitting hairs. I feel like we pretty much agreed on everything this week.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I'm happy for Joe.
Yeah, that's the thing. I actually shouldn't feel happy because I agreed too much with you during the argument. That's a good point. Now you made me feel bad.
So, Jared, we've talked, I think, enough about the actual hire itself of Andrew Brunette this week by the Predators, but I do want to ask you the big picture question on the Preds. When you think back to Poyle's out, Hines is out, Trotz and Brunette are in, and the transformation that has taken place in the front office with the coaching staff and now with the salary cap position and draft picks the Predators have at their disposal, how well positioned do you think the Nashville Predators are now to start that build toward the future, maybe rather than what they were this time 4 or 5 months ago?
Oh, I mean, I think it's night and day better. I mean, I don't think the Predators are a 10 out of 10 for where I feel like, I would like them to be. If they had the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, I'd probably say that they're a 10 out of 10. And that's the thing is that, and I asked Barry this when he came on the show earlier this week, and I asked him, I said, you're never going to pick high in these drafts. And in the NHL, it's kind of a prerequisite if you want to have one of those great centermen, one of those elite players, you're probably going to have to pick, number 1, number 2, number 3 in a draft. And Barry didn't completely disagree with that and understands that they're probably not going to be that bad. But they have a bunch of picks. I mean, I like the plan, and I appreciate the fact that Barry has articulated the plan to all of us. And what they're going to do is they're going to take as many shots at it with young players, and they know that they're going to miss on some of these picks. But if they have 7 picks in the top 100 and they hit on 2 guys, that's probably a success. And I think that's the right decision. Barry, I think, has been as open and honest about, where the team's headed. I like the plan that Barry Trotz has. The fact that there are no sacred cows. He told me that, on the show, he said that, look, if they offered him the 3rd overall pick, he'd move the goalie. That doesn't mean he's trying to move the goalie. That doesn't mean that he's definitely going to move the goalie, but it tells me how open he is to making changes. And I think that this organization's in a good spot. And I think the most important thing that probably hasn't gotten talked enough about is that Look, they're going to try to win games next year, but it's not Barry's number one focus, and it shouldn't be. But the idea of waiting on Matt Duchene or waiting on Ryan Johansson or maybe even waiting on Philip Forsberg to play as well as they can and carry the team, I think those days are over, and I'm glad because it's been about 4 years that we've been waiting for that. So I think the Predators are in a great spot.
Okay. Did you just say that Trotz told you he would trade a goalie for the number 3 pick? I heard that conversation. That's not what he said.
I think that's what he said.
I think he said he'd have to talk about it. They'd have to think about it.
Dude, like, well, you got to stop taking what people say and then making something up that they didn't say.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
I mean, I am so flustered. I listened to the conversation. That's not what he said. He was like, I was happy that he went to where he went, which was he did not just throw cold water on trading a goalie in general. He did not say, oh, yeah, we get the number 3 pick. Yep, see ya. He did not say that at all. I mean, that's almost like you saying that Mike Vrabel promised a receiver.
Oh, Vrabel definitely promised. All right, let's hear. This is Barry on the goalie. Let's hear what he said.
He's doing this.
We can. I'm not saying we won't. I think that's an opportunity, but you need the right dance partner. If someone came to me and said, listen, I'll give you the third or fourth pick in this draft, and if I'm looking for this and this. Yeah, be it one being one of those goalies, then we have to think about it for sure because that's your opportunity to get that maybe game-changing centerman.
Yeah,
I mean, other than the fact that he didn't say, other than the fact that he didn't say, for sure I would deal him for the 3rd pick. Joe, you
Robby,
operate in like
Robby,
somebody
please.
has to say
Robby,
an
please.
absolute. Like Vrabel didn't say he promised, but he said you will trust us to get this right.
But you said it in an absolute. You then paraphrased that as an absolute, which is ridiculous. Robby, help me out here.
He said exactly what I thought he would say, and that is, or what I said he said, which is he would think about it. You have to think about it.
Right. So again, what I'm asking you is Jared wrong when he says when he states as fact that he would trade a goalie for number 3 pick?
He is wrong. Yes.
Thank you. Stop it.
To me, you're splitting hairs here. This is
it's just facts. Whatever.
This is the
Who
problem
cares
with
about
you,
facts?
Is we ask questions like, do you think the Houston Texans can win the Super Bowl? And you're like, I think they can win the Super Bowl. Do I think the Houston Texans will win the Super Bowl? And it's like,
no. See, now you're talking about opinion, but you just tried to report as fact that he would trade a goalie for the number 3 pick, which he in no way said in the quote that you just presented.
You can't say that he in no way said it. He absolutely in a way said it.
In a way. He didn't actually say it, but in a way.
He left the door open.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, he left the door open to possibly trading a goalie. And he mentioned one thing, and he also said, basically, you want to listen to it again, let's do it again. He's talking about there could be other things involved, too. I mean, come on. Like, you got to stop this.
I'm more impressed that Jared said, you know what? I got the audio right here, baby. Let's go.
I am, too. I was like, oh, Jared's got the audio ready to go. I give you props for that.
Thank you. I like the plan. I like the direction in which they're going, and I believe in this draft, if they get offered the 3rd overall pick, they would trade the goalie for him.
I think there's a chance they might. Jared, what do you make of the idea of John Hines maybe becoming the head coach of the New York Rangers?
I mean, I don't – I mean, here's my thing with John Hines. I don't understand why everybody thinks he's such a good coach. But this is all – I've never seen this before, right? Like, Eric Spoelstra is a good coach. And I know this because Eric Spoelstra wins. Like, it just – there's enough game – and I'm not saying like, well, Barry Switzer won, so he's a good coach. But I'm talking about consistently. Eric Spoelstra wins. And so that makes, in my opinion, that makes you a good coach. And I understand that there are good coaches that don't win every year. But for the most part, when we think about the best coaches in sports, Don Shula was a great coach because Don Shula won. And when it comes to John Hines, he's been an NHL head coach for the better part of a decade. He has never won anything. And yet I flip on the television and all they do is talk about how great of a coach he is and that he's up for the Rangers job. When I heard Elliott talk about his relationship with the general manager of the Rangers on the midday show the day that he got canned, I thought he was, I swear to you, I thought he was talking about an assistant coach job.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I did not think he was talking about a head coach. We're talking about New York City, Broadway, Like John Hines at Madison Square Garden behind the bench. I think it's crazy. I know Joe thinks he's a fabulous coach because Joe wrote column after column after column about how good of a coach Hines was.
Another good fact by Jared.
Joe gave Hines like a C+ for his effort as coach of the Predators. Now, I will say this. Joe did write a good column, I think, at the end of the season that was basically, and I don't want to misquote Joe, but basically it was, Hines has done an okay job, but somebody else can do better, and I agree with that. I mean, I just don't think he's a good coach, and everybody tells me he's a good coach, and it drives me crazy, and I'm going to stop talking before I get in trouble.
Okay. So we have the Barry Trotz plan, and you've laid it out, and I agree. Trotz has been very transparent about it. So next 5 years, I think we'd all agree that Trotz's success is what matters. But let's just say whatever it is, whether it's good, bad, in between, next 5 years, John Hines is the coach for those 5 years. Let's do it this way. Your confidence level, John Hines could have success, which to me is at least winning some playoff series, and then Andrew Brunette. Okay, so your scale of 1 to 10 confidence level, same exact situation, same exact personnel from Barry Trotz, each guy confidence level and success.
I think I'd probably give Andrew Brunette like a 7 out of 10, and Hines like a 2 out of 10.
Amazing. Based on an interim season as a coach.
I mean,
well, why am I not allowed to use that as like at least a point in the discussion?
You're allowed to use it.
Well, you just scoffed at it. You just crapped on it. You were like, interim season.
Well, no, but you're talking about a 7 against a 2. And this is why I asked, because I knew it would be something silly like that.
I mean, John Hines sucks. I'm sorry. I don't see, this is what drives me crazy, is that I understand the idea of nuance, and not everybody is the best and not everybody is the worst, and I understand that.
Wow.
But at the same time.
You don't employ it, but you understand it.
Yes. At the same time, John Hines, outside of the turnaround in 2021, which I think in large part he helped create, John Hines never did anything. And he never did anything in New Jersey except for make it to the playoffs one time, and yet, I mean, you flip on the TV, oh, he's a great coach. And you're sitting here thinking that it's laughable to think that this guy is so much better than John Hines. And I'm like, this guy in one interim season where it came out that Joel Quenneville was aware of, and I think it came out on a Wednesday, that Joel Quenneville was aware of the sexual assault, and he coached on Thursday, and then he got fired on Friday, and they ended up winning the President's Trophy. We're not supposed to think that was a really, really good job?
Sure.
I think that's a good job.
I think that's a good job.
And yes, that was a good team. That was a good Florida Panther team. But you can't do better than win the President's Trophy in the regular season. And so he did the best you can do, especially given the circumstances. I mean, I think Andrew
But it's
Burnett's
interesting
pretty good
because
coach.
you've been all over Hines about his lack of playoff success.
Yes.
Right.
And Andrew Burnett has more playoff success than Hines.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. He did win a series.
He did win a series with the President's Trophy winning team.
Okay.
And then got swept.
By a wagon.
No doubt.
I mean,
look, there's a lot of information we don't have, but it's just interesting that you're just bullish on he's just going to light up the sky, and John Hines is awful.
Well, we have to. You brought up with Barry Trotz's players. So I do think that they're going to be better with Barry Trotz's players than they were with David Poyle's players. But like I said, in the Barry Trotz plan, the waiting on Duchesne and the waiting on Johansson and the waiting on these guys that John Hines was brought in here to fix and did not, that's over. So it's not going to be an apples-to-apples comparison. But you want me to compare apples to apples. And I think Andrew Burnett is a much better coach than John Hines. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Barry Trotz thinks it. That's why he made the move. And so, I mean,
he said
I do not.
Was that a quote that he had that you made up? Did he say much better?
I mean, I guess the actions probably speak for the opinions. But I go back to this, Joe, as far as the Hines and the Burnett and the everything else. If Andrew Burnett wins as much as John Hines won here, I won't like him very much either. So, I mean, the standards here have to be established, and I don't get the fact that when it comes to Hines, it's like I am the biggest jerk in the world because I just happen to point out, because it seems like everybody forgets that John Hines failed here. And it's like it's my fault for pointing that out. It's like, Yeah, that is so unfair to a great coach in John Hines.
I just want to point out that Maddie on the text line.
Who said that? Is that another made-up quote?
That's what you're saying right now.
No. What?
I just want to point out Maddie on the text line, going back to the Trotz conversation with Jared, says Trotz's vocal inflection indicated that there would be a strong chance of that trade happening.
But here's the thing with Joe.
Vocal
What Joe wants me to like transcribe everything he says while he's talking and then regurgitate it back word for word. And if it's not word for word, then it doesn't count.
No, we speculate all the time, and we've been speculating. When Trotz got on our show, we speculated like, ooh, that doesn't sound good for John Hines. You just tried to state as fact something he didn't state. You see the difference?
All right, let's speculate. If they get offered the 3rd overall pick for UC Saros, would they do it, Robby?
Well, see, that depends on if there's one specific guy available to me, because I think Adam Fantilli is going to be pretty good.
Well, aren't there supposed to be 3?
There's supposed to be 3 or 4, yeah.
But
really good
I
players?
think especially 1 and 2 are clear.
I'd say yes, they do it.
Joe?
I'll say no.
You don't think they would trade UC Saros for the 3rd overall pick in the
I
draft?
need a little bit more. I need a little bit more. Sweeten it a little bit.
Dude, it's a goalie.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I need a little bit more. I'm going to speculate. This is fine. We're speculating. You can't state as fact things that weren't said. We can speculate all day. Except we need to go now.
Jared?
I think they absolutely would do it because, I mean, again, goalie just isn't that valuable of a position in this league.
Goalies suck. Goalies suck, don't they?
Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Joe, who's the goalie of the Vegas Golden Knights?
They have several goalies.
Okay, that's my point. See you guys.
See you, Jared. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll continue the conversation on the Predators coming up next. How much faith do Predators fans have in Barry Trotz based on what we've seen to this point? We'll get into all that. Coming up next, Rexrode is laughing, so that could be dangerous on the text line.
Shout out to Chris on the text line.
We'll get into all that coming up next, too. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series tonight in Charlotte.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 5:50.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
We try to stay cool by being on social media. I'm with it. I'm hip. Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville. Hey! Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We're live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Thanks to our friend Jared Stillman for being with us on the program.
Lots to unpack. First of all, some of you on the text line are just amazing. Grigsby with the Toonces video said Trotz did touch his face a lot when talking about trades. Chris made me laugh initially. He said Trotz was touching his face and talking about the trade, so it's not happening. Like I said, he's not living that one down. But also, can I just say, and Josh says he's going to cause you to have a heart attack on the radio, and that won't be funny like the chair you obliterated. That's true. That might actually be a dark day. Although, if I have a heart attack and it's like, it's like the Bears fans, it's like, Farley, and I'm okay. It's like a mild heart attack. It might kind of be funny. Be some good audio.
Let's try to avoid that.
No, Joe. No.
No, but listen.
We know you get hurt a lot, but no.
Yeah. Well, he may be right. Sometimes he does get the blood pressure rising. But listen. First of all, two things on this. Apart from we totally exposed that he took liberties with what Trotz said. I mean, we can all agree on that, right? Anybody reasonable can agree on that. Ridiculous. But beyond that, you would trade Saros for the third pick?
Yeah. I would.
I don't know, man. I don't know that I would do that. And I'm with Mark from Ashland City who says, I can't believe he just said goalie's not that important. There's a reason Edmonton and Toronto don't win. There's a reason why we're even talking about Saros potentially being worth third pick. I mean, come on. Yeah, again, it's like, so Jared's like, oh, look at this. This particular postseason, look what happened. Goalies mean nothing. Come on.
Well, I would, to me, if you're trading up to the third pick, you've identified what I would assume to be a center iceman that you think is going to be your franchise player. So, yes, I would do it.
But, I mean, again, who knows how this is going to work out. Mock drafts are what they are.
I know.
Okay? But I do trust Corey Promden. I think he's really good. And, like, his analysis of this draft is, Bedard, Fantilli, the kid from Michigan.
Yep.
And then, like he's got Columbus taking William Smith third.
Yep.
There's also Leo Carlson out there.
This is a good draft.
Yeah, right. It's a good draft, but is it if you're not getting one of those top two guys, we know they're not getting the top guy.
No.
But if you're not getting Fantilli, is it a good enough draft that obviously you have to have the conviction that you know who it'll be and you're convinced that person, whoever it is, Leo Carlson, is going to be your
Let me put it to you this way.
Top centerman for a long time.
I think I would still probably do it if it was Fantilli. There's no question about it. I would not even hesitate if I were the Predators.
Just straight up.
Straight
Saros for that pick.
Zero hesitation. That's me.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that I think can be – he could be here for 15 years down the middle.
It's still a draft, though.
I know.
Still the unknown.
Yeah. I get it. He's not Connor Bedard. I understand that. But I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's pretty darn good.
You're talking
about Fantilli.
Now. Yeah. No, look, I think there's I'm a lot more willing to go there than 3, where then it appears to be a little bit of a tier down of uncertainty,
Yeah, if you're doing it, you have to – it's similar to the quarterback position, right? Like we talked about leading up to the draft for the Titans. Like if you're moving up to go get a quarterback, you better love the quarterback. Well, especially like this is beyond just moving up. This is trading your franchise goalie. Again, Trotz said that they would have to think about it. And by the way, he said that they would have to think about it, and the question was about the goalie position. It wasn't about Saros. It was about Saros and or Askarov.
That's true, yeah.
So, I don't know that Saros would even be the guy. Now, I also don't think, like, if you were going to trade up to number 3 overall, whoever's doing that, it's not going to be just a Skarov. Like, it would have to be Saros.
Well, but what if it was like a Skarov and several of those picks?
I'm saying straight up, though. Like, it would. Yeah. There's no way that a Skarov by himself could do that. I don't think.
So if it was a Skarov and a bundle of picks or Saros, which one would you rather do?
Well,
for the same return.
Look, I would probably do Saros from this standpoint, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. I personally, I don't have a ton of interest in paying UC Saros $9.5 million coming up in a couple years. I just don't. I mean, I think he's really good. I think he's probably worth $9.5 million, but that's a lot of money for a goalie. And I realize Vasilevsky's making about $9.5. I get all of it. But I think with the timeline of where this team is right now, it's going to take a few years anyway. I would pick Askarov. That's just me. I think they're a couple years away anyway. And if it helps you get your centerman at the end, I think you'll be better off in the long run. So that's me. I think a lot of people would disagree with it, and I get it. But that's how I would do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like there is that time frame. Like if Yossi is your North Star of your time frame, as we kind of talked about yesterday. You said he just turned 33, is that right? Or
he just turned 33.
He just turned 33.
Yesterday, yep.
Then you could look at it in terms of, okay, well, the sure thing goalie for that time frame of 2-3 years from now is Saros. But the longer term benefit to avoid the huge deal and to obviously have a much younger goalie who still could be great. That's the whole thing. You don't know. But he could be great. Is going that way.
Glenn from Laverne taking a shot at you on the text line. I think it's you. Says this is the reason we have teams like the Titans and Prez because of opinions like yours. Trading a goalie for a transcendent forward makes more sense than hoping for something to happen.
Yes.
From Glenn on the text
yes,
line.
Glenn, the transcendent forward. Where's he from? How old is he? Oh, the draft is such a sure thing, isn't it? Just the transcendent forward.
Joe, the influence you have.
David Legwand?
I'm going to start going through. Yeah, I'm going to start going through some recent drafts at the transcendent players who were picked, who no one knows who they are because they didn't pan out. Sorry, Glenn, I got a little angry there. Now you got me, man. Lafreniere. Yeah, exactly. He's okay. He's pretty good.
I don't even know if I'd go pretty good. He's okay.
He's okay. He's fine. He's in the lineup.
He's in the lineup.
I mean, that one, they had the kids line.
Yeah.
But he's Alex. Yeah, Lafreniere. That's a great example. I mean, remember, like the Preds could have gotten the first pick. Like, they might get Alexis Lafreniere. Oh my God! And then they didn't, and the Rangers didn't. And he's okay. He's good enough to be in the NHL. Yay!
Now, having said that, I think Connor Bedard's going to be pretty good.
Well, okay. Did you ask me if they should trade for Bedard?
No,
yes.
You're just saying the 18-year-old forward. I'm just saying I think he's going to be pretty good.
Fine. You trade Saros, trade Askarov, trade Stillman, trade everything you want for Connor Bedard, okay?
We'll continue this conversation coming up next. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll also get to the Stanley Cup Final. Is a non-traditional Cup Final matchup good for the league? We'll get into that coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The NFL offseason is in full swing, but you'll never miss any of the big news. Thanks to Yahoo's Charles Robinson.
They know that there's a chance that they're going to have to deal this guy.
He's one of the best insiders there is.
All of a sudden, he becomes a functional player who we thought was just trash.
Join Charles Robinson every Thursday morning at 8 on Robby and Rexrode, presented by the NFL Alumni Association on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Electronic Express Memorial Day sale is ending soon. Don't miss a Hisense 65-inch 4K TV for just $349 or a GE Profile laundry pair for $599 each. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Get an Acer gaming laptop for just $599 or a Sony Bluetooth speaker for only $39. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Gear up for spring at Coleman Tractor Company with Kubota zero turns and subcompact tractors in stock now and ready to work. Mow, dig, haul, and lift. with the Kubota BX23S tractor loader backhoe. Now through June 30th, save up to $2,500 on BX23S models. Visit Coleman Tractor in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and White House today. Now through June 30th. See KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
What's up? It's a Target Trend Alert. New swim has just arrived and it's sunny weather approved.
If you're into bikinis or one pieces, high waists or cutouts, they're the perfect combo of trendy, flattering, and affordable.
That's right. And there are so many cool styles with gorgeous details. These suits have macrame, crochet, wood beads, pretty shells, and more. Totally a luxe for less vibe.
Yeah, so dive in and shop this Target trend without the spend.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top three quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby and Rexrode presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, where their advanced Pay by TJ option can save you thousands when selling your home. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Kanazovic here with you on this Friday morning. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up at 7:45. Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, coming up at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to that discussion with him. One more point on the Saros front that I'm kind of basing some of my logic off of. Somehow, and I said this the other day, somehow my discussion always ends up back to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I don't really know how this continues to happen, but it does.
Pretty good.
But the kind of the model I have in mind with the Predators and why I personally probably wouldn't pay Saros $9 or $9.5 million by the time his next contract rolls around is because I view it kind of the same way as the Lightning when they had Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop was a very good goalie. Now, Ben Bishop also, he had some injury problems both in Tampa Bay and in Dallas. But Bishop, he took the Lightning to the Stanley Cup final in 2015. He was a Vezina caliber goaltender. He was an all-star goalie. And they had Andrei Vasilevsky waiting in the wings and ultimately made the decision to move Ben Bishop, go with Andrei Vasilevsky. Obviously, that's worked out. Now, look.
So, Robbie says Askarov equals Vasilevsky.
I knew that's where we're going. I'm not saying that Askarov is Andrei Vasilevsky, although, their prospect profile is pretty similar. It's pretty similar. So, I'm just saying the Lightning made the decision to move on to the younger goalie. It worked out. Now they're having to pay him, and you're talking about one of the greatest postseason goalies of all time already, even in his career. So that is the pipe dream hypothetical. That's working out great scenario for the Predators. Probably won't go that way, but we'll see. But that model is one of the reasons why I wouldn't do it. That's just me. I think a lot of Predators fans will disagree with that, and I get it.
No, that's a well-argued point. Whoever this jerk is on the text line says, Joe was ready to sell the farm for Bryce Young a few months ago, but now the draft is too risky. LOL. All right, you kind of got me, you jerk. Now, if you're...
Yeah, but you would sell for Bedard. You would sell for the number one.
Thank you. Exactly. Glenn over here is talking about some dude he's never heard of. Maybe you did. Okay, Glenn, I want you to tell me.
That about Glenn.
You're right. Glenn, I want you to tell me, real quick on the text line, which of these number 3 or below prospects are you calling a transcendent forward that will be a transcendent forward? I don't know why I'm getting so excited about this. Sorry. It's Friday.
I got a text from...
you just muted.
I did mute myself. I got a text from Skip Stillman on my phone. I need Joe to defend his John Hines isn't that much worse than Andrew Burnett take. That's from Skip Stillman on the text line.
Okay, so first of all, did I say that?
No.
Okay. So, again, Jared is just, hey, someone says some words. Let me make up some different words they didn't say, and then I'll just present that as fact.
He was at a 7 with Brunette.
Right.
And a 2 with Hines.
Well, let me ask you the exact same question.
Okay. So the question was, same scenario.
The question is this. The next 5 years play out however they play out. Yep. Either Barry Trotz is an awesome GM, terrible GM, somewhere in between. But John Hines is coaching that team for 5 years. Andrew Brunette is coaching that same team for 5 years. Confidence level scale of 1 to 10 in each guy. I'm going to ask both of you this question.
I mean, my answer in Brunette is probably a 5 because I don't really know. I would put Hines at a 4. That's about where I'm at. I mean, look, I think Andrew Brunette has a chance to be a good coach, but I don't know that. I mean, the 1 year he had in Florida was very impressive. So I like that. The power play work that he did and the path that he's taken to get here, I like. So I like a lot about Andrew Brunette. I have no idea how good of a head coach he really is. So I'd go 5 with Brunette. I'd go 4 with Hines.
Michelle?
So I'm going to actually put them both at a 5 because I think that, first off, we've seen what John Hines has done with an okay roster. I mean, I wouldn't say that the teams he's had here are, incredible, but I also think he coached this team. There were some years where, they could have been better. They could have been better at the beginning of this year, but I don't think what this team accomplished was, I don't think they could have accomplished so much more than what they did. And then on the Andrew Brunette side of things, yes, he took over in Florida, but I would say that roster was, they won the President's Trophy. The sample size is still just too small. He's had great teams there and also in New Jersey. So what does it look like when it's all you're starting from the beginning, you have a roster like this? So honestly, I'm going to give them both 5s because of both of those reasons. More sample size from John Hines, but it hasn't been that great, and it's still a big question mark with Brunette.
2 quick things on that. I agree with everything you just said. Now, one thing to keep in mind when Andrew Brunette took over the Panthers, they were 7-0 when he took over. They were 7-0.
Don't tell Jared that.
Season.
According to Jared, it was a terrible situation, and he just completely turned everything around.
I will say, keeping a team together through that when you lose coach, it's impressive.
Absolutely.
So it's you're going to win the President's Trophy.
Credit for it.
He deserves credit for it. And I will say, you and I have talked about the roster part of this a lot with John Hines. But the fact of the matter is, he has been the head coach of a team for basically 8 full years in the league. And there's not a whole lot to show for it. So, at some point, I'll put it to you this way. I agree with everything. The roster, I don't know that he's ever had a roster where he should have been expected to compete for a Stanley Cup or anything like that. But we talked the other day when they hired Andrew Brunette about elevating a team, and that's what you want your coach to do. And I think I've seen enough from John Hines that lets me know he's probably not an elevator of a team.
Yeah, I lost some confidence in John Hines this year. Jared referred to that column. And, I think the inconsistency, the consistent inconsistency at some point becomes a problem. So it's weird because I think we have hive mind on this show, but my numbers are exactly the same as yours. I think Brunette as a 5 is exactly the right way to look at it. Jared goes 7. Brunette is a 5. It was impressive. That was good. It's very limited information on what he is as a coach. This is his first time, as Michelle just said, as the coach, the clear, absolute coach of a franchise. It's a 5, and I'm a 4 on Hines. So I am, if you give me the choice between the two, I'll take Brunette, absolutely, because there is a lot more information on Hines, and it's okay. It's fine. It's solid. Nothing great. He hasn't any great teams, but still, I think that it's fair to wonder if he can elicit consistency. And for as overblown as I think all this offensive coach stuff is, look, I do think they're going to play in a different style, and I think it's the right style, and it's not Hines' style.
Well, and honestly, in all seriousness, when it comes to Hines and the Rangers job, his track record to me doesn't add up to head coach of the New York Rangers as currently constructed. Now, I will say, if he ends up getting that job, then we're going to find out exactly what John Hines is.
Yeah, because that team's
the talent excuse is out the window if you take the New York Rangers job right now.
That team's got the goods.
Right. So, I don't think he's going to get it. I think Peter Laviolette's still probably going to be the one that ends up with that job. But I I just don't think the track record, and again, I know that there are different circumstances and that Drury and Hines know each other really well. I don't think Hines' track record adds up to New York Rangers' job to me. That's just me.
I just got to, the text line today is fantastic.
Okay.
First of all, Maddie is promoting that I should look into some THC products, but also he says, I'll give Burnett a 5.5 and Hines a 3.14 because he is a suck pie.
Wow, a math
joke. A pie math joke from Maddie.
Math joke. Way to go. Justin from Greenbrier says, so the Hall & Oates song, Out of Touch, leading into this segment. Who's out of touch?
I don't know. Michelle picked it.
We love Hall & Oates on this program.
We do love Hall & Oates. We just love Hall & Oates. But it could have been a comment on somebody.
Well,
who would it be, Michelle?
We were all pretty much the same in our numbers for that question.
Well, look, it's a hard question to answer from this standpoint. Like, we've seen Hines. We know the end result of Hines here with the Predators, right? And I know the question is everything's the same. Barry Trotz puts his touch on the team, the roster, all that stuff. But we've seen Hines, and it's hard to overcome what that is.
And we were both sub-middle on him.
Right,
yeah,
sub-middle.
Sure.
On him. Now, Burnett, look, I think Burnett, I do agree with Jared from one standpoint. Like, I think Trotz thinks that Burnett is a significant upgrade over John Hines. If he didn't, I don't really know why you're making the move. I think Trotz believes that Andrew Burnett is a significant upgrade over Hines, and that he's going to be the guy moving forward.
You're probably right.
The team.
I'm just saying he didn't say it.
That is true.
You're probably right.
That is true. So, look, I feel like, to go back to the big picture question that I asked Jared, like, I think the Predators are in a really good spot right now. I agree. Like, it's not like they're set up perfectly and we're just, on the countdown to the Stanley Cup right now. But they have positioned themselves where they could get out of this thing relatively quickly and be back to being competitive. Now, Andrew Burnett's going to be a big part of that. He's 51-18-6 in the regular season as a head coach. But again, this is a much different job that he's taken over now than he had in Florida, and a big part of this job is going to be development. We've seen him develop, and we've seen him do that with some younger players as an assistant. Can you do that as a head coach? That's going to be the challenge for Andrew Burnett now. So, I mean, the job's laid out in front of him. I agree that it's no longer about Johansson and Duchesne and all those guys, but this is a much different task for Andrew Burnett than the Florida job was. And we'll see if he can handle it.
No question. Dennis points out that Hines had a struggling, I think, power play. He said PK, but I think it means power play. Had a player who was a weapon on it, scratched the guy every night until the team gave him away free. That is true. Also, the year before, John Hines' power play was right up there with Andrew Burnett's power play with not as good players. Just saying.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. Robert says, my concern with the offensive-minded coach is that Hines' team wasn't built that way. It's going to take some roster moves and re-education of some current players. This is from Robert of Nash. I don't think that's going to be that big a deal. Like, first off, a lot of the players are young, and you can mold them that way in their system. And I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of convincing to look at Philip Forsberg and be like, hey, we want you to be really creative out there. Do your thing.
Right. Yossi. Yeah.
Right.
Trigger offense, Yossi.
So I don't think that part of it will be a huge transition from the player standpoint that way. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. We need more. That is next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want to jump into the mind of a 15-year NFL vet? Well, here's your chance. It's Ask D-Mace.
Come on, bring them on.
Ask questions on football and life to Derek Mason every Friday at 12:30 on Ask D-Mace.
Don't mess with her. The skilled guy. Money reigns supreme.
On Caroline, Willie, and on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Your taste buds will be best buds with Dr. Pepper Float Ice Cream from Bluebell.
The rich taste of creamy vanilla ice cream swirled together with the one-of-a-kind flavor of delicious Dr. Pepper. Treat yourself to a pint or half-gallon today.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Aldi Supermarkets.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound, the sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Knoxville area attorneys. 408 North Cedar Bluff Road, Suite 425, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37923. CordellCordell.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
This weekend on our sports stations, Saturday night, Game 5 between the Admirals and Coachella Valley at 6 on 102.5 The Game, and Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final after Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan. Sunday on 102.5 The Game, it's the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway in the NASCAR Cup Series at 1:30. Game 2 of the NBA Finals between Miami and Denver. Don't miss Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan at 11:50 against Charlotte.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Another thing, stop playing us, man. We the Detroit Lions. We the Detroit Lions. Stop playing with us. I don't even watch TV, but I heard everybody already picked the Packers over us. Stop playing with us. That's all I gotta say, man. Don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Former.
It is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode here on the program. You can check it out every morning at 7:45.
See, the underrated part of that,
he's in total tears before all that.
Yeah, there was that. By the way, I think my version of the Lions fight song is way better. But also is the I don't even watch TV thing. But the thing is, he's probably telling the truth, right? I mean,
he probably doesn't.
That's what all the young people today do. They say everything's just right here.
Yeah,
it could be its own rant. It's been a rant 11 times. But today, this is also kind of a familiar topic. Okay. But and also this is of course tied in with some self-promotion. Of course,
Good.
It's like a humble brag rant. So today I got a story on 1A at The Athletic. Hard to do. Got one on 1A about Maggie Corbin. Spent a lot of time on this story. Spent a night with her watching a baseball game. It was for anybody who doesn't know, Maggie Corbin. I suggest hanging out with Maggie Corbin if you can. She's from Vicksburg, Michigan, which is just a few miles away from Climax, Michigan.
I knew we were going there. Yep.
So, there's some. And I figured out in the midst of this story, so my Aunt Mary was 12 when I was born. like the baby, and so she's like my aunt. Like I was old enough to go to her high school sports stuff for Climax Scott's Panthers, the CS Panthers. Shout out. And Maggie and I pretty much figured out they're the same graduating class, 78. That I watched my Aunt Mary and Maggie, then Maggie Hastings, play basketball in the Climax Scott's gymnasium.
That's awesome.
in the winter of 77, 78. Think about that.
That's awesome.
I vividly remember going to my Aunt Mary's basketball games, and she's like, yeah, I played for Vicksburg. We played Climax. How wild is that?
At least 2 legends in the building at one time with you and Maggie Corbin.
Yeah.
It's so wild how the world is connected. It really is.
It is. So this story I had a lot of fun putting together, and there's a lot to it, but late in the story, we get into, the fact that, last year after a very tough season for Vanderbilt, and in the midst of about a year into NIL and the portal, as we talked about earlier today, it is a strain on coaches. Chuck said on the text line earlier, and I agree, I'm not crying for these coaches who make millions. I agree, but I'm acknowledging that it does make the job harder, and I think it's going to make careers shorter. I think that his name is escaping me, but he made it clear. Villanova's coach, help me out.
Right.
Yeah. There's an example of not liking how things are looking, get out. And he has talked about that some too.
How did I come up with a college basketball name for you two?
That is quite amazing. So, anyway, there's a part of this story where you get into that. One, that they had serious conversations last summer about, the future and, and that, two, that this particular team has been rejuvenating for them. But also, Tim Corbin, and I credit him I'll credit – it's funny because Eli Drinkwitz got dunked on this week, and the way he did it was obviously a little misguided, and it's kind of, tone deaf. But I do appreciate coaches who aren't afraid to come out and like Saban. People dunk on him, but he's not afraid to say there's some tough stuff with it. Corbin has said he's not a huge fan of this stuff, and Maggie Corbin has said some similar things in this story. And again, basically the idea being they don't want. This program. I think Vanderbilt baseball is as good a college sports program. We've talked about that as there is. It's incredible. It's a model in terms of actual people development and genuine people who give a crap about other people and all the things that you want, right? Well, if you're that kind of program, I don't blame you if you don't want to just now players are just about, okay, we got 20,000 more from our collective than LSU did, so we're going to – and it all becomes transactional. I don't blame you for not liking that. At the same time, they're not closed off to NIL and stuff. So my rant is this comment by Julian B., which says, the story was great until I read their antiquated opposition to players rightfully earning their share of the revenue derived from the product they helped create. I have zero patience for that garbage. It genuinely made me lose some respect for the Corbins. And again, and I knew this was going to happen. I was nervous last night when I went to bed because I was like, some people are going to jump on just really what they said, which isn't it's not like they're out there saying we don't support it. They're saying we don't this is not how we run a program, and it makes it less fun. And it's just anybody who says anything remotely hey, this makes it tough, or I don't like this or whatever, someone is going to jump on them and say that you don't want these players to get a dime. That's BS. That's not true. And if we can't talk about this stuff, then, everybody has to be, again, the Eli thing, he deserved it, but it kind of ties into this.
It does.
Where you're just going to jump on someone for making. And the point he was making, which, again, the tone deafness is his salary. But the point he was making is, is it good for people who are 18 to have this much money? I've said that before, too. I would have been a freaking disaster. I was anyway. If I had that kind of money, holy crap.
Yeah, right. The term broke college students, just doing whatever. And it's oh, now you got college students with millions. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
I know, for instance, I have a friend who covers Lexington very closely, and Oscar was asking for $8 million, or he wasn't going to come back.
$8 million for this 1 year?
Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Well, that's, you know what? That's interesting. But so there's a guy though. That's the thing. Is obviously an Oscar. He is a responsible,
Sheboy, not the Grouch.
Thank you. Like he would. I would love to see him get that. I would have loved to have seen him get that. Good job.
Terrible.
That was good. That's
the worst
fine.
one ever. It's so bad.
I got the reference.
Good. That's good.
That's the key.
No, it's crazy. Like and the other part of this too is because I think you're starting to see, players and coaches talk about this. I think a little bit more openly because in the beginning, Joe, if you remember, like Saban would talk about it and other like prominent coaches would talk about it, but not really anybody else talked about it all that much from the standpoint of like because they didn't want it used against them in recruiting. Like you remember all the Billy Napier, Florida stuff. I was you don't want anything to do with NIL. Can't go with that guy. You're not going to get paid. So like I think we're starting to get out of that and more into an open conversation about it.
Yeah, so it's like the comment here from Julian is doesn't want them to share in the revenue. They I think any coach is like Enrique Bradfield here. I think he has some NIL, but if he had NIL given him millions, they'd be thrilled about that. The point is you don't want to get into where your relationship is purely transactional. And I understand it's already someone's gonna be like, come on, it's transactional. Anybody going to college, you're trying to get ready for your job. And if you're a great athlete, there's a transactional aspect to it. Like, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? Right?
Sure.
Yes. But again, if it gets boiled down to, we got outbid by Mississippi State. Oh, well. Let's see if we can outbid Tennessee on this guy. I appreciate any coach who is going to be an obvious human and say, that sucks.
Well, it's just way different. I mean, and we talked about this at like the start of the NIL conversation. Again, especially when it's not a high-level college football player or a high-level college basketball player, the money that we're talking about in most cases here is not into the millions. Like it's smaller amounts of money than that. So those are the extreme guys. But that's also like the difference in let's say you're a 3-star linebacker and Tennessee's offering you $50,000 in NIL money, and Georgia's offering you $85,000. Or Georgia's probably a bad example, but Mississippi State's offering you $85,000 in NIL money. Like, that's a big difference. I mean, it doesn't sound like a huge difference. That's a pretty big difference when you're talking about guys like that who may not go on to have professional careers.
Sure.
At that point, it complicates things.
Right, and again, it's like in the past it was. Okay, I mean it's not just laid out that clearly. It's not as much money for sure. Overall, it's not as much money, but there's still money flying around.
Yeah, no question. 615-737-1025, our phone number. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD. We'll get his thoughts on Titans OTAs to this point, and his thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people picked them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Michelle Knezovic here for Superbook Sports. Bring that big bet energy this summer with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the most trusted name in the sports betting world. And right now, if you use my promo code KNEZ, K-N-E-Z, you remember it, Michelle Knezovic, promo code K-N-E-Z. You can score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250. But you got to use the promo code K-N-E-Z. I'm looking at Game 2 in the Miami Heat Denver Nuggets series. The Nuggets are an 8.5-point favorite in this game again in Denver. I'm going to take Miami plus the 8.5. I think the game is a little bit closer. I do think Denver will go up 2-0, but I think Miami gets one at home. Also, if you're looking at the over-under, 214.5. I'm going to take the under on that one. Simply visit superbook.com for terms and conditions or download the Superbook Tennessee app in app stores. Remember, enter the promo code KNEZ, K-N-E-Z, and you'll get $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Interest rates may be high everywhere else, but now at Genesis Diamonds, you can get 0 interest on any purchase. 5 years, 0 interest financing with nothing down. Beautiful eternity bands, 1-carat diamond stud earrings, and more. Starting at only $50 a month. At Genesis, we are always looking for ways to do more for our amazing customers. So don't miss this. 5 years, 0 interest financing. Imagine that $6,000 designer ring is just $100 a month. We'll even finance the sales tax. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
312 Pizza Company is your spot for the best Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. From thin crust pizza to deep dish pizza to Italian beef sandwiches and Chicago dogs. Doesn't get much better than that. Until now. 312 Pizza Company is now serving up their award-winning pizza by the slice. All day, every day. Don't have time to wait for a full pie? No problem. Get a slice instead. Order a full pie but want a little more? Add another slice. Do it. Honestly, just go get a slice. 312 Pizza Company. Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria. Go get a slice.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined a life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ethoslife.com. ethoslife.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezovic. The SEC will stay with the 8-game conference slate in 2024. Greg Sankey announced yesterday. The Denver Nuggets defeated the Miami Heat in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, 104-93. Nikola Jokic leading the pack with 27 points. Commissioner Adam Silver had some comments on the NBA Finals broadcast regarding Ja Morant and his situation in Memphis.
We've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. I think since I was still asked about the situation, I would say we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of this series to announce the results of that investigation. And given that we're, of course, in the off season, he has now been suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies.
It'll be a busy day at Hawkins Field for the first round of the regional matchups. First up, Oregon versus Xavier at noon, followed by Vanderbilt versus Eastern Illinois at 7 p.m. tonight. This report is presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Base.
Stone and Company. Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Cranks it, he scores!
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
showtime. ESPN's Turon Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time to go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD. TD, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. TD, what are your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins? And not even necessarily to the Titans, although we'll get into that, but as you watch DeAndre Hopkins, as you look at the way that his career has transpired the last 2 years in Arizona, what do you think he still has left in the tank?
Yeah, I admit I didn't really get to see much of him last year, but, I mean, you look at the production, and that's not always an indicator, but you look at the production that he had. I mean, to have, just short of 800 receiving yards in 9 games, I think that's pretty good. So there's clearly a bit left. Interesting that offers haven't, surfaced so far, but I know there's been talks with teams, and I think he's a guy that can help a team play, championship level football, just not as a number one. I think he is more as a complimentary guy that could help a team that has someone that they envision being their top receiver.
So how did you interpret, TD, the Vrabel answer, which was of course a non-answer, but did you have any analysis of the way he answered it?
No, he didn't lead on at all. So he does a really good job of that. I mean, it's something that he's pretty much mastered, being able to talk without telling us anything one way or the other. And that one right there, I don't know if this team has interest in him, or him meaning Hopkins, or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. First of all, totally agree. I mean, that's the standard Vrabel non-answer. Jared did send me a video that he did touch his face when he started to answer. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got to start taking this stuff into account. But I'm just guessing, TD, and it's probably just because, I think that the Titans should absolutely be inquiring on anyone, but I'm just guessing they're not that interested in him.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing also. But the thing is, if there is an interest, why are they not coming out and saying, hey, we don't have interest, we're going to stick with these guys? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard to lean one way or the other. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but it does seem like they aren't.
TD, I realize that it's OTAs, and there's only so much that you can glean from OTAs, but I do wonder your impressions to this point, both of Will Levis and of Malik Willis.
Yeah, well, I mean, Malik Willis clearly looks more comfortable. His accuracy was there, and some of the drills that they were doing, there's videos of that. I think when you look at him, he's going through his progressions. Saw him do that. In the OTAs that we saw recently, really fit a nice throw into Traylon Burks, between a few defenders there. So I think you could definitely tell that, there's a different level of confidence and comfort this year after having been through what he was through last year, so that's a good thing for him. We'll see how that continues. As far as Will Levis is concerned, it's still a learning process. He had a tough practice on this past week, so we'll see how he bounces back from that. I thought, some of the things that happened, accuracy was a little bit off on the touch on the throw to Mason Kinsey. He threw into coverage. He had the botch snap. The accuracy was a bit off in drills, but it's not something to get too low about. And just like with Malik Willis, you don't get too high. You just let these guys continue to play and show you what they're able to do. And it's going to be fun watching that as we get into mini camp and especially training camp and preseason football.
I know last year during this time of year and then during camp too with Willis, sometimes it was definitely like a footwork thing, it seemed like, where the accuracy would kind of be all over the place. When it was right, it would be very good, and then he'd sail some. As you look at Levis, do you feel like is it a mechanical thing that they have to kind of work through or develop so that he can be more consistently accurate?
Yeah, that one that he did where he overthrew Kinsey, it was bad footwork. So he threw it kind of off his back foot. He didn't step into his throw and follow through the way you see. I'm no quarterback guru, but these are some of the things that, the common person can see. So that didn't happen on that particular throw. So he did say when I talked to him after practice, he said that was something that he worked on. He and Jordan Palmer, his QB coach, they worked on that pre-draft and everything in their training. And I think the next step with that is just to get that down and have it executed consistently in practice, right? So especially like team period and that kind of stuff where it's almost like a game situation. And then the next step is for him to take it from practice to the game.
Teron Davenport with us here on Robby and Rexrode. TD, we were talking earlier this week about Elijah Molden, and obviously, Christian Fulton has a contract coming up. The Titans are going to have to figure out what to do with him. But, I mean, Molden essentially missed the whole year last year with the groin he was dealing with. You have Sean Murphy-Bunting coming in at the secondary. McCreary can play inside or outside. So how do you kind of view where Elijah Molden sits right now with the Titans and obviously the importance of this year for him?
Yeah, it's big for him because he, like I said, he missed so much time last year. But I think, the fact that they're moving him into the back end of the defense, finding another way to get him on the field is really good. And, he's a guy that could play the nickel. They like to blitz him out of the nickel. Wouldn't as much put him outside, even though I believe he could play there. But I think between those two positions, that'd give him opportunities to get some reps. And you got to remember, this team uses a lot of dime, right? So he could be the guy that they bring in those dime situations. And, with Murphy Bunting, what's he going to do? Is he going to line up on the outside as well as the nickel? Or what are you going to do with him? Because he could give you reps in the back end of the defense too. But, the fact that they rotate safeties, I mean, you look how much, even when, everybody was healthy, Andrew Adams played a lot last year, right? He got time even when Hooker was out there, and obviously with Byard, who doesn't seem to miss any snaps. So it's an opportunity to get more playing time, and that's good for Molden for sure.
TD, I know this is not the ideal time for it. Not a ton able to be seen so far. But I think one thing that we haven't talked, I know just on this show, we haven't talked a ton about is linebacker. I'm just wondering your early impressions, Al-Shaair, what you think of the combination potentially of him and Rice, how Campbell may factor in. What do you think of that position right now with this team with David Long Jr. moving on?
Yeah, the combo of Al-Shaair and Monty Rice is a good one. And, in fact, I remember the last practice that we got to see. Rice, that is, he had a pretty good play where, he kind of drifted back into this passing lane and he made Willis have to, come off of where he wanted to go with the football. And it was a good job by Willis, too, by moving on to the next read. So that was a good rep. I think, you got an athletic combo. Al-Shaair, I just really like what I see just as far as, like, the leadership. Saw him pull Chance Campbell aside and, run through something with him in between snaps, and just the way he's communicating and all of that. That's what you have to do as the, the inside backer, the primary one on the defense. And you're seeing that, and he's all over the place as far as like, pass defense and coming in and getting his run fits and those things. So I like that. And Chance Campbell is a guy I've always liked, even, pre-draft. So it's good to see him out there. He's moving around, and he's another one that seems more confident. And he missed all of last year, so this time right now is really big for him.
Well, TD, we really appreciate you taking time to join us. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend.
Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, our guest, host of Talking with TD as well. We'll react to what TD had to say there. Take your thoughts on the Titans. 615-737-1025. Make sure you join 1025-1063 The Game on June 6th for the night before Charity Riders Round featuring Saving Able, benefiting Souls for Souls. General admission is $20 with every ticket. Going to purchase a new pair of shoes for a child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee. It's happening at the brand new The Ballot East next to the Gallatin Hotel in East Nashville. Doors will open at 6 o'clock. You can get your tickets now at thegamenashville.com/golf. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063 The Game.
Final lives here. Which team will hoist hoist Lord Stanley's Cup in 2023. Follow all the action on Smashville's home for postseason hockey. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale. Hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed in 7 to 10 days.
More than 100 spas in stock and ready for immediate delivery starting at only $29.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $24.99 installed, ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure is calling you to come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why do these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called Testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
Your next success begins with University of Maryland Global Campus. For more than 75 years, UMGC has been giving working adults the affordable, accredited online education you need to reach the future you want. Because the path to success is different for everyone, we offer more than 125 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, along with personalized support and lifetime career services. Our 100% online and hybrid courses let you learn in the way that fits your schedule. No-cost digital materials replacing most textbooks, affordable tuition, and financial resources make UMGC accessible. You know what it feels like to succeed? We'll help you succeed again. Get started on your education this summer. Online undergraduate courses start June 14th. Programs available in many of today's most in-demand fields, including business, cyber, healthcare, and more. Gain the career-relevant skills you need to reach your goals. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate by Chev.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, helping home buyers and sellers in Middle Tennessee for 20 years. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook, live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I got some tickets to give away, a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at Nissan Stadium coming up on July 1st. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Caller 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at Nissan Stadium coming up on July 1st. You can see Joe Rexrode right now at Monster Jam driving one of those trucks out there. Be good. I'd do a great job.
Yeah, I'd
No, you wouldn't. Really?
Yeah. Oh, he'd do it.
Yeah,
he'd do it.
I'd do that. Sure.
It's kind of scary.
I've gone to a rodeo before.
Have you?
Yep, and actually participated in like a media, like trying to rope cattle.
I thought you were gonna say you were like riding the bull.
No, yeah, that would have been my death.
That would have been it.
Also, my roping sucked, but it was fun.
Glad it was. Would have paid a significant amount of money to watch that.
Oh man, yeah, that was up in East Lansing.
Sweet.
They call it Moo U, baby.
Oh yeah, no question about it. You brought up an interesting question to TD on the linebacking spot because you and I both we like David Long Jr. He's been a good player for the Titans. Injuries have been a problem, no question about it. But he's now gone. Signs for a reasonable rate with the Dolphins, and Azeez Al-Shaair coming in from San Francisco. You've got Monty Rice, who you drafted in the third round a couple years ago. Chance Campbell, who basically missed the whole year last year. So, I mean, it's not like they're devoid of players at middle linebacker, but it I think is going to be really interesting to see how all this comes together and whether or not the playmaking of David Long Jr. can adequately be replaced on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think both those guys are really important. Those are big storylines for this defense because I'm a noted and on the record David Long Jr. fan.
You are.
Think about going back to that guy's rookie year, special teams guy, and then Jan Brown gets hurt, and what he did, like in the Baltimore game, particularly in the playoffs, like, whoa, who's this guy? And then he just got better and better. I mean, pass coverage was a problem for him, like his rookie year, and even I'd say like in his second year to some extent, and he got better and better, which, again, it's hard for some people to wrap their minds around people within professional leagues improving significantly, but he did to the point that I just thought their defense was different on the field or off the field. Problem is we could see that contrast pretty easily because he was off the field too much, but I still feel like that's a huge loss, and it's no guarantee that they're going to be able to get that same level of play. But Al-Shaair is very intriguing. And this is a huge year for Monty Rice. He's had his own bad luck and everything, but talking about moving up, I think they moved up. They definitely took him in the third round. I thought they moved up to get him too. I could be wrong on that.
I can't remember.
I don't remember they moved up. They moved up to get Des Fitzpatrick.
For sure.
Who, by the way, apparently is lighting it up in
Pittsburgh. In the Steel City.
There's, as Kaharski tweeted, you got to love those OTA storylines, baby. Yeah. But anyway, they picked him in the third round, and they picked him to certainly by now be a starter and a really good player. And I understand that was John Robinson, but Mike Vrabel was there on draft night when they drafted him. And now it's time for Monty Rice to step forward.
Do you buy that this can be a top 5 defense in the league? Because we've heard, obviously we know, you're getting Harold Landry back. Hopefully he's good to go. We'll see. Although I will say, how many times have we talked about the year after a guy coming off an ACL injury and how long it takes to not be healthy enough to get out there and play, but be back to yourself? What does that look like? Because I think Harold Landry needs to be back to himself for the Titans defense to maximize what it could be. But we know what the offense looks like right now on paper. We'll see how it shakes out with Tim Kelly and all those guys. But I think even the most optimistic of Titans fans right now would probably admit that this is not going to be an offense that's just putting up 30 points every week and outscoring people left and right. So the defense is going to have to be good. The question is how good. And there are some Titans fans who think that if things work out from a health perspective, this could be a top 5 defense in the league. Do you buy that?
Yeah, I buy it. And it hinges on, like you said, Landry. I think you grade him on a curve this year. I don't expect Harold Landry of 2021, but maybe Harold Landry of 2019, which is still a good player. Can he give you some pass rush, some durability, be on the field a lot? I think you have to be real careful and hope that maybe he is more like vintage Harold Landry late in the season. So don't overdo it early in the season. Whatever he needs, but I think you expect some step back from 21, but still a good player. Jeff Simmons, Danico Autry, I think, is a big key here. Are you going to get a third straight year of him playing at the game-wrecking level he's played at in tandem with Jeff Simmons?
Right.
And then I like the key addition, so I think that's where it starts, is getting after the quarterback. And then I think the secondary could be solid. And now you have options, you got depth, you got different combinations. I mean, the question to me, they're going to stop the run. The question is, yes, a non-premium position, but still an important position, inside linebacker. If you're solid there, I think maybe you have to be good to really good there to be a top 5 defense. Again, it's not as important as affecting the quarterback and being able to hold coverage long enough. But Hooker and Byard, that's still a really good safety tandem. If those backers are good to very good, then I think, yes, this can be a top 5 defense.
I think it can too. I just think I still look at the secondary part of this, and Christian Fulton worries me about his health. Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think, is going to be really fascinating to see, what exactly is he? Like, is he a starting level player? He has started before, and he's made some big plays for. He made some big plays in the playoffs on the run for Tampa Bay to their Super Bowl. And then last year he was kind of like coming off the bench, and he wasn't really is he a starting caliber player? And we were at Kaharski the other day. He says that right now he's got it Fulton on one side, Murphy-Bunting on the other side, and McCreary in the middle. Is that the way you're going? Do you want McCreary on the outside? Like, they've got options with what they do at corner, especially if Molden can be healthy here. So I can see a path where their corner group is pretty good. But I also can see, based on the injury history of a couple of those guys, where they could run into trouble quickly at corner.
Sure. Yeah, look, I mean, the health thing is, if you're going to tell me that they're anywhere in the neighborhood of the last 2 years in terms of health, then it might not be a top 15 defense.
Right.
And Fulton is – but Fulton, the thing that I like, I think he should have come to OTAs, but he understands – like right now, whatever you can try to do to figure out your health, this is it. I mean, this year is so critical for him. So I feel like at least whatever prompted Vrabel to call him out as a repeat offender, which to me, it can't just be that he's had bad luck. That's going to end, or that's going to change, right?
Yeah.
And I think when Christian Fulton has been on the field, it's actually a lot like David Long, pretty darn good.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that there's a little bit of they're due for a little bit better luck, and also that some of these guys are going to be a little more thorough in trying to help their own luck.
Well, and the thing that I think we know about this defense, or we've known, and David Long Jr. has been a big part of this, and we'll see how the linebacking core comes in. But they have been so good the last couple of years against the run. They had the one game last year where Saquon Barkley tore them up in the first game. And then other than that, they were so good against the run last year with Tierra Tart coming back in there. And by the way, he hasn't signed his tenure yet, but they're going to get that done at some point. With him coming back in there, Jeffrey Simmons with his new deal, Autry. Like, if you can continue to stop the run, that's why I think the being 32nd against the pass last year is a little bit deceiving with the Titans, just because they were so good against the run that nobody tried to run the ball against them at the end of the year. So if you can keep that part of your defense what it is, and the running game from the other side is not really a threat, it doesn't solve everything, but it certainly helps out a lot when you're not scared to death of somebody gashing you left and right.
Somebody's going to jump all over you. Modern football, who cares?
I know.
It matters, folks. The line of scrimmage matters. Running the football matters. Stopping the run matters.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, time for weekend winners here on the program. And we got a tight competition heading into this weekend as well, with the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final about to get underway. We'll do that coming up next. Make sure you check out this week's Nashville's Best Deal. It's Central Barbecue in Hillsborough Village. Central Barbecue is a slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue restaurant where their motto is "Smoke is our sauce." Go to theGameNashville.com/deals for half off a $30 gift card to Central Barbecue today. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
This is massive news.
The Nashville Predators have moved on from head coach John Hines.
I try to do it in the best way. I'm a big supporter of John.
And hired former Pred Andrew Brunette as his replacement.
I'm so excited to be with these people, and I take a lot of pride in that.
What's next as incoming GM Barry Trotz puts his mark on the team?
We're going to get the right people, and if you want to be part of something special, you're going to be a Nashville Predator.
Keep it locked on your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
High interest rates may be the norm everywhere else. But right now at Genesis Diamonds, we're always thinking about our customers, and we've decided to slash interest rates down to 0. 0% for 5 years. That means you can get those diamond earrings, that designer engagement ring, or that luxury pre-owned Rolex and spread your payments over 5 whole years without paying a dime in interest. Birthdays, anniversaries, just because gifts starting as low as $35 a month. And that's with 0 down. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Approved credit. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Bon appetit. Take some Titans.
Derrick Henry.
Some Preds.
Roman Yossi.
Even some hoops.
Light fires.
Wow. Put it in a blender. And what do you have? Chase and Michelle.
Pretty incredible.
Call or text and weigh in.
The fastest 2 hours in sports radio. Weekday mornings at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
It's time to pick some winners. We hope. Robby and Rexrode have weekend winners for you. Now
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time for weekend winners here on Robby and Rexrode. Lots of things happening. You got the NBA Finals going on. Stanley Cup Finals set to begin coming up this weekend. So we will get into all that. I have to say, I went back yesterday after being on vacation last week and listened to weekend winners from last week, and listening to Vingan fumble around was very funny to me.
Yeah.
It's very good.
He's not, but Vingan has never gambled.
I know.
He's a novice.
An interesting revelation.
Novice.
He did well.
I was going to say, he probably cleaned up then, didn't he?
Nah, he was fine. You did the best last week. You went 4-2.
Boom!
With no lock. So Rexrode on a heater. Anytime Rexrode's at or above 500. It's a great day here on this program.
It's a shocking day.
Vingan, in place of me last week, went 3-3 with a lock. So 4 points acquired by Adam Vingan last week.
Don't even read mine.
It was a rough week for Michelle Knezvik last week. 1-5, but she did get her lock. So
what was
2
the
points.
lock? What was the lock?
I don't remember.
Do you remember, Michelle?
I think it was Miami to cover the 2.5.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
The Celtics.
That is what it was.
I was getting a little scared there for a second.
That is what it was. So 1-5 for Michelle last week, but she does get her lock, which means a standings update in the competition. Michelle Knezvik, 30-29 overall, 6-4 on her locks, good for 36 points. Myself / Adam Vingan, 32-27 overall, 4-6 on my locks, good for 36 points as well. So dead even at the top up there with Michelle Knezvik and myself. Joe Rexrode improves to 26-33, did not get your locks, so 2-8 on the locks. The locks are killing you in the competition. Good for 28 points. So Joe hanging around within shouting distance of the lead in the competition. Okay. With that in mind, let's get rolling today, and we will begin with Game 2 of the NBA Finals coming up on Sunday. The Heat and the Nuggets. Nuggets at home, a 9-point favorite. Michelle, we begin with you. Nuggets favored by 9 coming up in Game 2.
Okay, I think that the Nuggets will win, but I think Miami lets this one be a little bit closer. I like the shots they were getting. A lot of them just weren't falling, so give me Miami plus the 8.5 and lock that down for me.
I believe it's 9 is what we're going with, but we'll take that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 9. My brain it's Friday, y'all.
It's all good. We'll go with so locking down on the Heat plus the 9. I like that. You know, I'm going to go Heat as well. I mean, I don't feel great about it after watching what happened last night. I don't know how in the world they're going to stop Jokic. I don't know how anybody's going to stop Jokic. But I do think the Heat will shoot better on Sunday, and I think that will be the difference. And I'm going to go with the Heat to win in Game 2 as well. So I'll take them plus the 9 for sure. Joe Rexrode, Nuggets favored by 9 coming up on Sunday.
Heat lock also.
Guarantee.
Wow.
Heat to win also. I'm a believer in your squad. They're gonna come out. They're gonna get those legs rested. They're gonna take some mountain jogs, get used to that altitude, and they're gonna shoot the lights out.
All right, well, so we'll stick with Game 2 between the Heat and the Nuggets. The over/under is set at 214 in this game. I'll start on this one. I'll go under. I think if the Heat are going to win, it probably needs to be more of a low-scoring game than a shootout with the Nuggets. So I will go with Nuggets having an off-shooting night, Heat playing a little bit better defense, Heat shooting a little bit better, but I'll take the under 214 in a Heat win coming up on Sunday. Joe Rexrode, over/under 214 for the Heat and the Nuggets in Game 2.
Yeah, look, I don't think the Heat are winning games or winning this series with lockdown defensive performances. It's just the Nuggets are just a tough cover, man. They're just a really, really well-balanced team with a guy like we've never seen in this league in the middle of it all. They're going to win games by outscoring the Nuggets, and that's what they're going to do in this game, and so I'm big on the over.
They're going over in this matchup. Michelle Knazovic, over/under set at 214 coming up on Sunday in Game 2.
I'm going to go under as well. I think that one team, and this will be a little called shot I'm adding in there, one team does not score over 100 points. So give me the under.
There we go. Going with the under in the competition coming up on Sunday. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final underway on Saturday. It's on TNT, which I'm very happy about. I wish the NBA Finals were on TNT as well, but that's a different story for a different day. We'll go straight up on the puck line. Florida on the road taking on Vegas. Joe Rexrode, who do you have in Game 1?
I mean, I've already called the Eichel hat trick, so I got the Golden Knights starting out here.
Going with Vegas in Game 1. Michelle Knazovic, Florida and Vegas coming up in Game 1.
And I'm the opposite. I'm saying that the Panthers take Game 1 on the road. It's going to be the Florida Panthers on the puck line.
I will go with Vegas in Game 1. I think that the Panthers have been off maybe a little too long. They've been off for 10 days by the time this thing drops. That's a long time to be off in hockey. So
rustiness doesn't matter.
It may matter a little bit more in hockey.
Sometimes it does.
But I will go with Vegas to win at home in Game 1 coming up on Saturday. We move to the individual portion of the program. Michelle Knazovic, your first individual selection.
Okay, I'm going to get a little WNBA action in here. We got the New York Liberty at the Chicago Sky. New York is favored by 9.5 points, but it is in Chicago. But New York's team is really stacked, so I don't think home court matters really whatsoever. So give me the Liberty minus the 9.5. Far better team, and I think they win by about 10. So give me the Liberty minus 9.5.
Going with the Liberty minus 9.5. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
Well, here on WHMR, let's talk about Eastern Illinois, Vanderbilt.
Yes.
We'll go with Vanderbilt.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, that is an easy money line.
I mean, I actually looked to see if there was a point spread, but they just have...
Yeah, remember when...
You're going to go with Vanderbilt beating Eastern Illinois in a singular baseball game?
Yeah. Remember when I picked the money line?
Suck.
Remember when I picked the money line? You're all like, you can't do that. They're a huge favorite.
Well, so, okay. But see, that there was a line, though. So, like, if you give me a line, I will wager on the line. But all I've got here is...
Let's go Vandy minus 1.5.
Yeah.
That's what the typical MLB line is. You want to do that?
That's fine.
Vandy
I mean, because, want to make sure that Joe ends up really way far in third place. Oh, God. Can't have him being close in third place.
That's like me walking up like, I think Tennessee's probably going to handle Chattanooga coming up on the money line this weekend in football.
But there's no line. Fine, whatever.
Okay, Joe.
I'll take
come
the
on.
-1. That's fine. You guys got to police me because, you can't have me within 20 picks of you. That's fine.
Vandy -1.5 against Eastern Illinois. On my first individual selection, I talked about this yesterday in my best and worst in sports, the Oakland A's. They're playing Miami today, and Miami's not any good either. But I'll take the Marlins -1.5 against the Oakland A's and make it my lock. I'm locking down on the Miami Marlins. I know nothing about the Marlins. I know that the A's are terrible. So I'm locking down -1.5 against Oakland. Your thoughts?
Go A's. Well, it's funny because someone we were talking about Moneyball, and it was on last night. I watched like a half hour of it.
It's a good movie.
So, go A's. Great
Joe
movie.
Rexrode, your second individual selection.
Here on WHMR, Tennessee, Charlotte. Let's go with the Vols. -1.5.
Vols -1.5 against Charlotte coming up today in the regional. Michelle, your second individual selection.
Let's make it exciting. I'm going to take Charlotte +1.5.
Ooh.
I think Tennessee still will win, but Charlotte makes them work for it.
Tennessee by a run. Okay.
So Charlotte +1.5 against the Vols coming up today. My second individual selection, Panthers Vegas over-under for game 1 is 5.5. I think this is going to be a defensive series as they move along. I don't think it's going to be in game 1. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game in game 1. I got Vegas winning 5-4, so I will go over 5.5 in game 1 coming up on Saturday. And I'll go ahead and kick us off with our final round of individual selections. Give me the New York Yankees +1.5 against the LA Dodgers today in that matchup. Okay. Big matchup, Yankees, Dodgers. I'll go Yankees +1.5 on the road against LA. Michelle, your final individual selection.
Okay, so this is a game today, LSU and Tulane. Tulane has, in baseball, they have like the worst record to ever make it into the tournament, so give me LSU -1.5.
We're going to have to do some investigating into these lines. You all have gone the college baseball route here and are taking...
Blame Rexrode. Blame Rexrode.
I mean, it's tough, huh? I mean, we could maybe there is some place.
I think Alabama's going to take down Alcorn State in football this fall. Can we get to that?
-48.5.
All right, there we go. Joe, your final individual selection.
I'm sticking with UT Charlotte. We got an 11.5 over/under, and I believe in UT's pitching, less believing in UT's hitting. So give me the under.
So going under 11.5 against Charlotte coming up this weekend. So that means every one of your individual picks were in regional play. I respect it.
Yeah, man. Got to
How do we have an over/under and we don't have a line?
Well, yeah. So they have money lines, but no
spreads.
Point spreads. But maybe someone does. So
Robbie's I respect it, but I actually don't respect it.
If anybody out there knows where their actual point spreads, well, you have about 10 seconds to let us know.
Isn't Tulane 19-40? Isn't that their
Hey,
record?
they made it in. They just won their conference.
Hey, it's an in-state rivalry, man. In-state rivalry.
Jeez. What have we allowed this competition to get to on this
program?
program?
Is why you win,
Robbie's not mad at Joe because he's like, yeah, he's good. And then I jumped in. You're like, wait a minute.
LSU Tulane -1.5. What are we doing here?
Okay, maybe you guys should negotiate. Maybe it should be 2.5.
Jeez. No, she's already made the pick. It is what it is.
It is locked in.
If someone can find an actual line before the show ends, then you may have to change.
615-737-102.
Who cares?
Joe had to change his entire pick. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. We'll have more coming up next. The Titans, the Preds, SEC on the table. We'll get into the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final beginning this weekend as well. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan on June 6th for a night of music benefiting Souls for Souls at the Night Before Charities Writers Round featuring Saving Abel. General admission is $20 with every ticket going to purchase a new pair of shoes for a child experiencing homelessness. It's happening at the all-new Ballad East next to the Gallatin Hotel in East Nashville. Lineup also includes Lewis Bryce, Brian Davis, Austin Ellis, as well as Lee and Tiffany Turner. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Get your tickets now at thegamenashville.com/golf.
CMA Fest is happening in downtown Nashville, June 8th through 11th, with dozens of performances by many of today's hottest black country artists, including K. Michelle, Chapel Hart, the TSU Aristocratic Bands, Breland, and many more. Proceeds benefit the CMA Foundation and music education programs. Visit CMAFest.com for details.
Time to save cash fast with the 102.5 The Game Deal of the Week. Get a $30 gift card to Central Barbecue for half off at thegamenashville.com/deals. A $30 gift card for just $15 at thegamenashville.com/deals. Smoke is our sauce at Central Barbecue. Visit their newest location in Hillsboro Village. Get them while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
2 seconds left on the clock, third field goal range, and it looks like he's going to go with a 5-iron. No, wait. The quarterback is skating back on the ice. He's talking with his caddy. They're pulling the goalie. He skates off the fairway as the kicker lines up his putt. It's a breakaway. They bundled their home and auto insurance with Progressive. Touchdown savings, birdie goal.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ESPN17 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ESPN17. Use code ESPN17 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
This weekend on our sports stations, Saturday night, Game 5 between the Admirals and Coachella Valley at 6 on 102.5 The Game, and Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final after Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan. Sunday on 102.5 The Game, it's the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway in the NASCAR Cup Series at 1:30. Game 2 of the NBA Finals between Miami and Denver. Don't miss Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan at 11:50 against Charlotte.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Friday morning. Nefarious action taking place with Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezovic. I found lines for college baseball.
Come on.
I found lines for college baseball in 3 seconds.
Good.
Joe's just my long lost father, and I just follow his footsteps.
Yeah, exactly.
So your Tennessee Charlotte line is allowed to stand. The line is actually 1.5.
Ooh, exciting.
The Vanderbilt line against Eastern Illinois tonight is 4.5.
Whoa!
Vanderbilt minus 4.5. As is LSU Tulane 4.5.
I'll take the minus 4.5.
Okay, so going 4.5.
I will too here on WHMR.
Going 4.5. So neither of you have any hesitation whatsoever to go minus 4.5, and had no problem riding the minus 1.5 line either.
Actually,
just shameful.
Aren't you the one who came up with 1.5?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the typical major league line. But you told me there were no lines.
Why? Where I was looking, there were no lines.
Okay.
That I had. I'll show it to you right now. It has. So, for example, actually the Vanderbilt thing didn't have anything, but the Tennessee game they have a Tennessee minus 260 and they got an over under 11.5.
Okay.
So
I didn't look, to be fair.
we're not trying to cheat. Don't worry.
We'll see what happens.
And I'd have to pull.
You're not that far back now. I mean, you kind of are.
But
you're not
37, 37, and how many do I have?
36, 36, and 28. So you're right back.
I mean, actually, if you guys both completely bottomed out and I went nuts, yeah.
See?
But now that's not going to happen. Thanks a lot.
It may.
You're very welcome. The path to Omaha for Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Your called shots. You have both of them going to Omaha. How strongly do you feel about that?
Well, I feel better about Vanderbilt than Tennessee because Vanderbilt's going to be at home, and Vanderbilt will. I think I like Vanderbilt this weekend, and next weekend if it's Oklahoma State, Mitch Light, friend of the show, who was resident college baseball expert, knows more about college baseball than anyone I know. He picked Washington to upset Oklahoma State and get out of there and be in here. But I like Vanderbilt's chances at home for sure. They play well at home. Most teams play better at home. They're built for this park, and they got momentum now from Hoover. So I definitely like their chances better. I kind of agree with what Gentry Estes wrote in the Tennessee, and talked about this with him too. It's kind of like if Tennessee figures it out and puts its best baseball out there and gets there, they might have a higher ceiling in Omaha than Vanderbilt. Now, saying that, what if Carter Holton could potentially get back on the mound in Omaha for Vanderbilt? Okay, well, that changes that equation a little bit. But
is there any timeline with him in terms of when he might come back?
No. I mean, it's like each week. But, I mean, I know that I've asked Tim Corbin and Scott Brown, not in the too distant past here, and it's definitely not like no chance. It's hopeful at some point, but I kind of get the feeling that it would have to be in Omaha at this point. So, and that could be a huge boost to them if they get him. But with Tennessee, with their pitching, I absolutely think – Clemson that's a tough deal for Clemson. They got a flat-out more talented team as the number 2 seed in their region, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like you said, Clemson has ended the season strong here, and they've been playing really well, and Tennessee's got to go on the road. So it's a different challenge for Tennessee than it is for Vanderbilt, but both tonight with games that they need to win. Tennessee taking on Charlotte. I believe the game's at 5 tonight, and then Vanderbilt taking on Eastern Illinois at 7 o'clock. So there will be some overlap with the two, but get you a couple screens up there tonight. That's what I'll do.
Yep. I'll have the phone in the press box rolling.
You will. And then Tennessee, Charlotte, I guess, will be over before Vanderbilt, Eastern Illinois, unless there's some wild stuff going on out there with Tennessee and Charlotte. We'll have to see.
Yeah, never know. Last year, by the way, in the Tennessee press box, one of the nights was one of the Golden State Celtics.
Oh, I'm sure that went over well.
I was completely unprofessional.
Yes, I'm sure that you were. Game 2 of the NBA Finals on Sunday. Heat lose last night in Game 1. Nuggets win 104-93 in a game that was not as close as that final score would indicate. Rough shooting night from the Heat last night. Max Strus and Caleb Martin not very good from the field last night. Gabe Vincent kind of turned it on a little bit later in the game, but not a great shooting night from the Heat last night, and the Nuggets have been unstoppable offensively all season long and all postseason long, and they were again last night at home. So 1-0 lead for Denver in this series to this point.
I feel okay about the Miami Heat after last night. Those guys had an awful shooting night, guys who have carried them here. Their role players hitting open shots, massive part of all of this for them. And they found a bunch of guys that hit shots. They didn't hit anything last night. They got good shots. They're going to get good shots in this series. You have to shoot way better than that. But on the offensive side of the floor, I feel fine about them. Defensive side of the floor, I don't feel fine about anybody playing Denver. You're going to have a really good offensive game to beat them at this point. They have so many answers, and they immediately went right to Aaron Gordon and said, okay, well, you're going to guard him with perimeter guy, then we'll just remember how big he is. And he just, I thought, set the tone, especially early in that game.
We'll see if Tyler Hero can play in Game 2. Hasn't played since April the 16th in the first round for the Heat, so there's a chance he can play Game 2. According to Woj from ESPN, there's pretty confident he'll be available by Game 3. So Tyler Hero probably coming back at some point. We'll see if it's Game 2 on Sunday for the Heat. The Stanley Cup Final getting underway on Saturday. So let me ask you this question. Do you believe this final with Florida and Vegas, who we would describe as non-traditional markets, and probably, if we're being honest, not who the NHL, if they could hand-select a Stanley Cup final for TV ratings, they probably wouldn't go this route. Do you believe that this could be good for the game, given the quality of hockey, the quality of these teams? And I am interested to see how this does being on TNT for the Stanley Cup final.
I think it's good. I think it was good when Nashville had a Stanley Cup final. I mean, what's the how big of an impact on the game does it have? I don't know, but look, I know that TV execs and probably Gary Bettman. They'd love to just go ahead and have Edmonton against Toronto, but or the Rangers against McDavid or
Their
whatever.
dream final would be like Chicago and the Rangers. Just
right.
Line them up.
Sure.
Yep.
But you know what? I think it's great. I think it's great personally. Now I'm a fan. So, how many people get drawn into this? I don't know. But it should be a really good series. And that's what matters most, or it should, right?
I think there's one player in this that could be the biggest draw rather than the two teams. I think a lot of people want to watch Matthew Tkachuk play hockey. I know I do.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously I'm a hockey guy, so I'd watch it anyway, but I think a lot of people really like watching Matthew Tkachuk play. So it being on TNT is going to be interesting. I think TNT's NHL coverage is way better than ESPN's NHL coverage, so I'm glad that it's on there. But this is a championship series on TNT, which we've not really seen before. So I'm interested to see how the ratings play out for that one.
I mean, you mentioned earlier, just can it happen? Can we get the NBA Finals and get the inside the NBA guys?
They went to the halftime show last night. And look, I like most of these people, but Wilbon he's fine. Greenberg's fine. I really don't like Jalen Rose, but that's beside the point. But the difference in that show and inside the NBA is just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's not fair.
It's not.
No one should try that. You can't do it. You can't duplicate.
No.
You can't do it.
The best broadcast show in television ever.
I mean, Charles Barkley is really why. But although the dynamic with Shaq also is very strong, but it's Barkley. And then if you don't have Barkley, you can't even try to look at that show and think that you want to be a show like that.
Right. Exactly. So
now Barkley, by the way,
sad.
He's going to be at some hockey games too.
He is. Looking forward
like he was
to
here.
that. Yeah, looking forward to that coming up in the Stanley Cup final. Busy weekend of sports with the NBA and the NHL getting things kicked off in the final. Regional action in college baseball. And, of course, minicamp taking place next week with the Tennessee Titans as well. So we'll have you covered on all of that here next week on Robby and Rexrode. That does it for us today. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Chase and Michelle up next. This is 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
They played tough. They came back and they still lost.
And your source for Nashville sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The regional begins. This is the Capital Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. It's the next step on the road to Omaha for Vanderbilt baseball. The NCAA